It's a 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a simple copper-colored coin that millions of Americans have handled without a second thought. But one rare version of this penny changed everything. It turned a pocket find into a $1 million miracle. It began like any other day for a man in Pennsylvania who had been collecting coins since he was a kid. He was sorting through a small jar of change, something he did out of habit, never expecting to find anything valuable. But as he flipped through a handful of 2005 pennies, one coin caught his eye. It didn't look like the others. Its color was slightly off, and the mint mark, the tiny letter that should appear just below the date, was missing. He almost dismissed it, thinking it was worn out. But something told him to look closer. What he discovered would soon shock the entire coin community. This wasn't just any 2005 penny. It was a no-mint mark error, a coin that somehow escaped the U.S. Mint without the identifying letter that marks where it was struck. Normally, a 2005 penny should have a small D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But this one had nothing. A perfect blank space. And that tiny missing letter would soon make this penny one of the most sought-after coins in modern history. But here's where it gets strange. 2005 was not a year known for major minting mistakes. The mint had modernized its equipment, drastically reducing errors. So how did a no-mint mark penny even exist? That mystery sent experts scrambling. Some believed it was a mechanical slip, a die intended for proof coins might have been used by accident. Others suspected a rare transitional planchet, a coin blank meant for a previous year, was fed into the press. Whatever the cause, this penny became an anomaly, a perfect storm of rarity, timing, and mystery. When the coin was verified by a professional grading service, it was given a near-perfect grade, MS-69. That meant it was almost flawless, preserved exactly as it came from the mint. Dealers were stunned. Rumors spread quickly across collector forums. Was this the rarest modern Lincoln penny ever struck? Soon, major collectors began making offers. $50,000. Then $100,000. And when it finally went to auction, something extraordinary happened. A heated bidding war broke out. The final hammer price? Just over $1 million for a single 2005 penny. But that wasn't the end of the story. Once that sale made headlines, thousands of Americans started digging through their jars of coins, their dresser drawers, even old piggy banks, hoping lightning might strike twice. Coin dealers across the country began offering to buy 2005 no-mint mark pennies, desperate to find another specimen in pristine condition. Most turned out to be ordinary coins, but a few unusual examples surfaced, each with slightly different traits, each fueling the frenzy even more. Some experts believe fewer than 10. Others think there might only be 3 verified examples. That level of rarity puts it in the same league as legendary coins: the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, the 1969 S-proof error. And yet, this 2005 no-mint mark version is even more puzzling, because it shouldn't exist at all. But what happened next stunned everyone. A second coin, found years later in California, showed a nearly identical flaw: no mint mark, slight color variation, and faint doubling around the word Liberty. It sold privately for an undisclosed sum rumored to be close to $800,000. That confirmed it wasn't just a one-time fluke. Something unusual happened inside the U.S. Mint that year, something collectors still can't fully explain. First, flip it under good lighting. Look carefully at the area just below the date. If there's no letter D or P, that's your first clue. But don't stop there. Examine the edges. Authentic era coins from 2005 have an exceptionally sharp strike, meaning the details of Lincoln's hair, face, and the lettering are bold and crisp. Also check the color. Many of the valuable no-mint mark coins appear to have a slightly different tone, almost a reddish bronze hue rather than the typical copper shine. Next, listen for this: a faint, almost metallic ping when dropped on a table. That sound indicates the coin may have been struck on a slightly different metal planchet, another clue to its rarity. And if your coin appears unusually lightweight or heavy compared to other 2005 pennies, get it weighed. Even a slight difference in grams could mean you're holding something truly special. Don't clean it. Many people make the mistake of polishing their coin, thinking it will make it look better. But that actually destroys its collector value. Leave it exactly as you found it, and have it examined by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified coin with a high mint state grade could easily fetch hundreds of thousands, and possibly over $1 million, if it's the right variation. This story is a reminder that miracles still hide in plain sight. A single overlooked penny, something that might have been spent on a gumball, can rewrite your financial future. Dealers are still searching for these coins, and collectors are paying record prices for authentic no-mint mark errors from 2005. Every day, people across the country are checking their spare change, hoping for that one impossible find. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or open that old coin jar sitting on the shelf, take a closer look. Because one of those 2005 pennies might not be ordinary at all. It might be a silent treasure, a $1 million mystery waiting for you to notice it. But one small copper coin among them would turn out to be worth more than $1 million. That penny was a 1990 60 Lincoln cent. Most people would have spent it without a second thought. But this one was different. It held a secret, buried in its surface, a tiny imperfection so rare, so mysterious, that it sent shockwaves through the coin-collecting world. You see, the 1990 60 penny was minted in Denver, one of the most productive U.S. mints in history. Billions of coins were struck that year. But hidden within those billions, a few rare mistakes escaped the mint's watchful eyes. And that's what makes this coin so legendary. One collector, years later, discovered his 1990 60 penny wasn't just another Lincoln cent. It shimmered differently, the details slightly distorted, the lettering off, like something went wrong during its birth. When he sent it to be graded, the experts couldn't believe their eyes. It was a minting error, a double die obverse, with Lincoln's image faintly doubled, and the inscriptions around the rim slightly shadowed. A genuine factory mistake from the U.S. Mint, the kind of flaw collectors dream of finding. When that coin hit the auction block, bidding started small. A few $100s, then thousands, then tens of thousands. Phones were ringing, collectors were whispering, dealers were frozen in disbelief. And before the hammer fell, that tiny 1990 60 penny had crossed the unimaginable, selling for just over $1.1 million. All for a coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up off the sidewalk. What makes it so special? It's not just the error. It's the story behind it, the mystery, the accident, the survival. Because most of the flawed pennies from that year were caught and melted down. Only a handful slipped through, and those few survivors became legends. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were desperate. Everyone wanted to know, how could a coin this modern, this recent, be worth over $1 million? The answer lies in how incredibly rare a perfect error can be. You see, not all mistakes make a coin valuable. It's the combination of rarity, condition, and story that ignites a collector's frenzy. Imagine holding history in your hand, a coin struck during a split-second mishap that no one at the mint ever noticed. That's what gives it its soul, and that's what turns ordinary change into a treasure. But here's where things get even more mysterious. Some 1990 60 pennies show faint doubling on Lincoln's date. The 1996 itself slightly shadowed. Others have a subtle misalignment between the design and the rim, known as an off-center strike. And a few, almost mythic examples, have what experts believe to be a transitional error, struck on a leftover planchet meant for a different year or metal composition. Those are the kinds of anomalies that drive prices sky high. Coin experts say the most valuable examples are in mint state condition, sharp edges, no scratches, untouched by circulation. A penny that sat in a drawer for decades might now be a seven-figure miracle. But what happened next sent chills through collectors nationwide. When word of the $1 million sale spread, everyday people began digging through jars, drawers, glove compartments, and old coffee cans. Pawn shops saw floods of customers clutching handfuls of 1996 pennies, hoping lightning would strike twice. And some found smaller treasures, coins worth hundreds, even thousands, depending on the precision of their error. The hunt was on. You might have one of these pennies sitting in your pocket right now. So, How can you tell if yours is special? Look closely at the details. Start with the mint mark, that tiny D under the date. That's Denver. Examine the date carefully under good lighting or a magnifying glass. Do you see a faint doubling in the numbers or the lettering? Look at Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters seem shadowed, doubled, or misaligned, that could be a sign of a rare double die. Next, check the rim. Is the design perfectly centered, or is part of Lincoln's portrait, or the lettering cut off? A strong off-center strike could make your coin worth thousands. And don't forget the condition. The shinier, cleaner, and more well-preserved it is, the higher its potential value. A coin in mint state, untouched, uncirculated, can multiply its worth dramatically. Some 1990-60 pennies were struck with microscopic planchet variations, slight differences in metal mix that cause unique toning or color. These variations, when verified by grading experts, have been known to fetch jaw-dropping prices. Dealers are still chasing these elusive coins today, hoping to uncover the next $1 million specimen. Collectors say every great discovery begins the same way, with someone who simply looked closer, and that's the real magic of coin collecting. Ordinary people, finding extraordinary fortune in the most unexpected places. Think about it, a coin worth a single cent, transformed into a symbol of luck, curiosity, and hidden wealth. This is why stories like the 1990-60 Lincoln penny capture the imagination, because it reminds us that miracles don't always come in gold or diamonds. Sometimes they come in copper. So the next time you get change from the grocery store, pause. Take a second look. Because that dull, forgotten penny in your hand might just hold $1 million secret. And if you happen to see the date, 1996, with that tiny D beneath it, take a closer look before you spend it. But one collector recognized something strange, and that small detail turned an ordinary 1990 Lincoln penny into a life-changing discovery worth up to $1.2 million. It's the kind of story that makes every coin collector's heart race. Because this wasn't a rare gold coin or a silver dollar from the 1800s. It was a simple copper-plated penny, one that looked no different from the billions made that year. But when experts saw what was missing, everything changed. The coin world went silent when this penny surfaced. A 1990 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, a detail so small, most people would never notice it. But that missing P on the front of the coin was not an accident. It was a mistake, one that should never have happened. To understand why it's worth so much, we have to go back to the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia in 1990. That year, millions of Lincoln pennies rolled off the presses. But something unusual happened. A batch of proof dies meant for special collector sets were accidentally used to strike regular circulation coins. These proof dies were polished to perfection, designed to create mirror-like coins for collectors, not the everyday coins you find in your pocket. Normally, Philadelphia proof coins have a tiny P mint mark under the date. But the mint mark was accidentally left off one die. And before anyone realized the error, a few of these no mint mark proof pennies were released into the world. They slipped past inspectors, mixed in with ordinary rolls, and vanished into circulation, hidden in plain sight. For decades, no one knew they existed. Then one day, a sharp-eyed collector noticed a gleam. The way the light reflected off the coin wasn't normal. It looked too perfect, too sharp, almost like a proof coin. But there was no mint mark. When he had it authenticated, experts couldn't believe what they were seeing. It was a genuine 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin so rare that even the U.S. Mint admitted it was a mistake. When the first one hit the auction block, bidding exploded. Collectors from across the country fought to own it. The final hammer price? Over $1.2 million. One simple penny that could have been lost in a coin jar or dropped under a car seat became $1 million miracle. That's where this story gets even more incredible. Because while only a handful have been confirmed, experts believe there could be more out there, still hidden in circulation, tucked away in old collections or jars of change. Dealers are desperate to find them. They know that even a single discovery could rewrite numismatic history and change someone's life forever. But what makes this coin so easy to miss? It's the lack of that tiny P mint mark under the date. Every 1990 proof penny from Philadelphia should have it. If yours doesn't, and it has that flawless, mirror-like finish, you could be holding something extraordinary. Collectors describe it as a coin that hides in plain sight. The difference between a common penny and $1 million treasure comes down to a single missing letter, one barely noticeable detail that turns everyday copper into a collector's dream. Imagine finding one of these in your old coin albums, or in a roll you picked up from the bank years ago. People have searched their collections for decades, hoping for this exact mistake. It's the kind of hunt that turns ordinary people into treasure seekers, all because of a penny minted 35 years ago. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. After that first discovery, word spread like wildfire. Prices on rare error coins skyrocketed overnight. Collectors began scouring their coins, using magnifying glasses and lights, hoping to catch a glimpse of that missing mint mark. Some even found similar coins with partial mint marks or other small die errors, fueling the frenzy even more. The U.S. Mint never revealed how many were struck, or how many escaped. Some experts think fewer than 200 exist. Others believe it could be less than 50. But one thing is certain: the value of this coin continues to rise as more collectors learn its story. Think about that, a coin minted in 1990, during a time when most people weren't even paying attention to pennies, now commanding prices once reserved for gold and silver. It's a reminder that history can hide in the smallest corners, waiting for someone with curiosity and patience to uncover it, and it's not just about luck. Many of the people who find coins like this spend years learning the details, the minting errors, the die varieties, the small quirks that separate a normal penny from a fortune. They know that even the tiniest imperfection can mean everything. If you ever find a 1990 penny that looks unusually sharp, with strong details, deep luster, and no mint mark under the date, take a closer look. Flip it over. Study the edges. Examine Lincoln's portrait for the clarity proof coins are known for. You might just be looking at one of the rarest modern pennies ever made. One man's discovery changed his life forever. Another collector reportedly turned his find into enough money to pay off his house. And that's what keeps the search alive, the dream that somewhere, in someone's pocket change, another 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny is still waiting to be found. This coin isn't just metal. It's a story, a mystery, an accident, and a symbol of how ordinary things can become extraordinary with time, chance, and a little bit of luck. So the next time you empty your pockets, don't overlook the pennies. Look at every date. Check every mint mark. Because sometimes, a simple coin from 1990 can hide a secret worth over $1 million. But when one collector looked a little closer, he realized he was holding something extraordinary. What looked like an ordinary 1984 penny with no mint mark turned out to be worth over $1.2 million. Imagine that for a moment. The kind of penny you could easily hand over for a cup of coffee could actually buy you a mansion. That's exactly what happened when experts discovered the shocking truth behind the rare 1984 no mint mark Lincoln penny. And once you know what to look for, you might never see your pocket change the same way again. It all started with an innocent collector sorting through a pile of old pennies. Most were scratched, faded, or completely ordinary. But one coin caught his eye. The details of Lincoln's face seemed off. Something about the image looked slightly doubled, a tiny imperfection that would change everything. When he took a closer look under magnification, what he found stunned the entire coin world. This wasn't just a minor flaw. It was one of the most dramatic doubling errors ever seen on a Lincoln cent. The 1984 no mint mark penny, struck in Philadelphia, contained what's known as a double-dyed verse. Lincoln's ear appeared doubled, like two overlapping images carved into the same metal. It was bold, clear, and unmistakable. But when word spread and experts confirmed the error, collectors went wild. The U.S. Mint had no explanation for how such a doubling slipped past their quality control. The 1984 double-dyed penny wasn't supposed to exist. Yet here it was, hiding in circulation for years, unnoticed. In 2016, one pristine example of this penny, carefully preserved since the day it was struck, crossed the auction block. Bidding started small, But as collectors realized what was on the table, the numbers skyrocketed. By the time the final gavel dropped, the hammer price shocked even veteran dealers. That tiny copper coin sold for over $1.2 million. Think about that. A 1-cent coin turning into a $1 million treasure. Dealers were desperate to find more. Collectors began combing through coin rolls, old jars, and attic boxes in hopes of striking gold, or in this case, copper. Every 1984 penny became a potential ticket to fortune. It's not just the doubling, it's where it happens. Look closely at Lincoln's ear. If you see what appears to be an extra earlobe or a shadowed outline of another ear just beneath it, that's your clue. It's called the extra ear variety, and it's one of the most famous double-die errors of the entire Lincoln cent series. Even experienced collectors miss it because it's so subtle under poor lighting. That's why magnification is key. Under a good 10x or 20x magnifying glass, the doubling becomes obvious. It's sharp and distinct, unlike the soft, blurry doubling caused by machine vibration. This one is clear, crisp, and mechanical, a true double die created during the hubbing process at the mint itself, and that's where the mystery deepens. How could a double die this bold escape detection? The answer lies in the chaos of early 1980s minting. During that time, the Philadelphia Mint was transitioning to more modern machinery, and mistakes like this occasionally slipped through. But very few survived in pristine condition, making the few that did exponentially more valuable. Collectors were shocked when experts confirmed that fewer than a few dozen of these coins are known in top condition. And with every passing year, their value climbs higher. Coin dealers say that even a circulated 1984 double-die penny can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But a mint-state version? That's where the $1 million magic happens. Another variety of the 1984 penny might exist, one with an even rarer doubling pattern. For weeks, forums and auction houses buzzed with speculation. People were checking every penny they owned, searching for that tiny mark of history. Some found near misses, machine doubling, post-mint damage, but only a handful ever discovered the real thing. One man in Ohio reportedly found his 1984 double die in a jar of coins he'd kept since childhood. He'd been holding a treasure worth 6 figures for nearly 40 years, without knowing it. Stories like his keep the coin collecting world alive. Because every time a new discovery hits the headlines, thousands of people realize they might be sitting on their own fortune, waiting quietly in a desk drawer. And here's the most thrilling part. The 1984 no-mint mark penny doesn't look rare at all. It blends in perfectly with every other cent. The color, the size, the texture, completely ordinary. That's what makes it so dangerous to overlook. The only way to know its true worth is to study it closely, look for that doubled ear, and check the details under light. The condition of your coin can make or break its value. A heavily circulated penny might bring a few $100s. But one stored carefully, untouched for decades, can change your life. Collectors prize luster, sharp detail, and absence of wear, especially on Lincoln's face and the word Liberty. Even small nicks or scratches can cut the value in half, so if you ever suspect you've found one, never clean it. Cleaning a coin can destroy its surface and erase thousands of dollars in potential value. Instead, place it in a soft protective holder and get it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. But the true allure of the 1984 no-mint mark penny isn't just its rarity, or its price tag. It's what it represents, the idea that something as common as a penny can hide unimaginable wealth. That an ordinary person could discover $1 million miracle in their change tray. It's proof that history, chance, and luck can collide in the most unexpected places. Coin dealers across the country are still searching for fresh examples. Auction houses list them sparingly, and when they do, bidding wars erupt. The excitement is contagious. Every collector wants to be the next lucky one to hold the most valuable 1984 penny ever found, and it could happen to anyone, even you. Because these coins were made for everyday circulation. They passed through countless stores, schools, and hands over the decades. Your pocket change, your coin jar, your childhood collection, Any of them could hold a treasure that's been hiding in plain sight. So the next time you come across a 1984 penny with no mint mark, don't spend it. Study it. Look at Lincoln's ear. Look for that faint double image that tells a story of a minting accident turned into legend. Because that tiny detail could turn a single cent into more than $1.2 million. Collectors were shocked when they realized how few exist. Dealers are still desperate to find another one. And people who've spent years searching say it's one of the most thrilling discoveries in the coin world. So check your change, your jars, and your drawers, because the next life-changing discovery might already be in your hands. It's a regular 1981 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark. A coin millions of Americans handled, spent, and never thought twice about. Let's rewind time to 1981, a year that quietly changed U.S. coinage forever. In the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint was facing a growing crisis. Rising copper prices meant every penny cost more to make than it was worth. So, the Mint began experimenting, transitioning from solid copper coins to zinc-based planchets coated in copper. But somewhere in this transition, something went wrong. A few rare 1981 Lincoln pennies were struck on transitional or misaligned planchets, and a handful slipped through quality control with no mint mark and sharp, deep strikes that revealed microscopic differences in the lettering, rim, and even Lincoln's profile. These weren't just mistakes. They were accidents of history. One such coin, found years later in an old jar of change, would go on to rewrite what collectors thought was possible. When it first appeared at an auction, dealers couldn't believe their eyes. No mint mark. Anomalies in the metal composition. The iconic Lincoln profile etched more sharply than usual. The bidding started modestly, but quickly exploded. Phone lines jammed, live bids poured in, and in a matter of minutes, the coin's price rocketed into the hundreds of thousands. By the end of the night, that 1981 no mint mark penny had crossed the $1 million threshold. To understand that, you need to look at the tiniest details. Most 1981 pennies from Philadelphia, which had no mint mark, were ordinary copper coins. But the rare few that were struck using experimental zinc planchets or with proof-level die errors are the ones that change everything. These coins reflect light differently. Their color, weight, and even the sound they make when dropped are slightly off. Some show faint doubling on the date, or Liberty. Others have a delicate, almost mirror-like finish that was never meant to leave the mint. Collectors began scouring their old jars, wallets, and even coin rolls bought from the bank. Suddenly, 1981 pennies became the most hunted coin of the decade. Dealers reported being flooded with calls. Pawn shops saw a rush of people testing their old change with magnifying glasses. And through it all, the legend of the $1 million penny grew stronger. One retired factory worker from Ohio found a 1981 penny with unusual shine while helping his grandson start a coin collection. Thinking it looked odd, he sent it to a grading service. When the results came back, the grader couldn't believe it. The coin was a transitional error, struck on a 1982 zinc planchet before the official switch year, and preserved in near-perfect condition. That single coin, pulled from pocket change, later sold for nearly $1.3 million. And yet, stories like this keep surfacing. Because not every valuable 1981 penny looks different at first glance. Some have subtle die breaks, tiny raised lines near Lincoln's neck or around the rim. Others show light doubling on the date or letters, what experts call a DDO, or doubled die verse. Even a minor detail like the thickness of the rim or the spacing between letters can turn a 1-cent coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. But here's the real kicker. Millions of people still have these coins, and most don't even realize it. Think about it. The Philadelphia Mint struck billions of 1981 pennies without a mint mark. Buried among them are just a handful of transitional errors, off-metal strikes, and proof-like anomalies that slipped into circulation unnoticed. Each one could be worth thousands, or more. Dealers today are desperate to buy these coins, not just for the metal, but for the history they carry. Because every rare penny tells a story of timing, precision, and a bit of luck. The kind of story that turns an everyday coin into $1 million miracle. First, check the mint mark area carefully. The valuable ones have no mint mark at all. If you see a D or S, it's from Denver or San Francisco, still collectible, but not the $1 million variety. Second, weigh it. A genuine 1981 copper penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. But the rare transitional zinc version weighs closer to 2.5 grams. A major giveaway that you've got something extraordinary. Third, look closely under magnification. If you spot doubling on the word Liberty, or the date, or a strange reflective surface that looks almost like a proof coin, you could be holding a coin worth thousands, maybe even over $1 million. Collectors say the real test is in the sound. Drop it gently on a hard surface. Copper pennies make a low, solid thunk, but the zinc transitional ones ring slightly higher, almost metallic. That subtle sound difference has been the clue that led to $1 million discoveries. The U.S. Mint never announced every variation from that year. Some planchets were mixed, some dies were reused, and others were replaced mid-run, making 1981 one of the most mysterious years in modern penny history. Experts believe fewer than 10 of these ultra-rare 1981 no-mint mark transitional pennies exist. That scarcity, combined with the mystery behind them, is what drives collectors wild. Imagine finding one in your change jar. Imagine holding a coin that looks just like every other penny, except this one could change your life. Stories like this remind us that hidden fortune doesn't always come in gold bars or treasure chests. Sometimes, it's the smallest, most ordinary things that hold the greatest secrets. So before you spend that next penny, take a second look. Weigh it. Study it. Shine a light across its surface. You might just see what others missed. Buried in a jar of loose change, until one collector made a discovery that shocked the entire coin world. A 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, struck during one of the most chaotic times in U.S. mint history, has now been valued at up to $1.4 million. And the reason behind its unimaginable worth will leave you speechless. It started in 1965, a year of transition, confusion, and desperation for the U.S. Mint. Silver was disappearing from circulation, coin shortages were spreading across America, and mint officials were scrambling to restore public trust. To speed up production and hide where coins were made, the mint made a bold decision: remove all mint marks. Every penny, nickel, dime, and quarter from 1965 would look the same, whether struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But this decision would unknowingly create one of the rarest errors in coin history, because hidden among millions of ordinary 1965 pennies, one coin, struck with a leftover 1964 die, would carry subtle differences invisible to most eyes. The wrong metal, the wrong die, and a timing mistake created a coin that shouldn't even exist. This 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny became a 1 in a billion piece of history. Collectors couldn't believe it when the first example surfaced. It looked normal at first glance: Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, the same reddish-brown copper tone, the same "In God We Trust" arching above his head. But something was off. Under magnification, experts noticed sharper details, deeper rim cuts, and an unusual composition that didn't match the official bronze alloy of that year. Tests later revealed the shocking truth: it had been struck using leftover planchets from 1964, making it a transitional error, one of the rarest forms of mint mistakes. Word spread fast. Dealers began whispering about it at coin shows. Collectors scoured their jars, their drawers, even old piggy banks. The hunt was on. And when the first 1965 no-mint mark penny sold privately for over $200,000, disbelief turned into obsession. But that was only the beginning. Years later, another pristine example, perfectly preserved, with a deep red luster and flawless strike, appeared at auction. Experts were stunned by its state. They described it as museum quality, a time capsule from an era when the mint was struggling to keep up. The bidding war was fierce. Within minutes, the price climbed past $500,000, then past $1 million. And when the hammer finally dropped, that single 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny had sold for an astonishing $1.4 million. The answer lies in the mystery of its creation. You see, 1965 pennies were supposed to be uniform. No mint marks, no silver, no surprises. Yet this coin was anything but ordinary. It carried the fingerprints of two different minting years, a 1964 die and a 1965 planchet, a mechanical ghost of history trapped in copper, a jar of coins sitting untouched in a basement, a handful of old change from your grandfather's dresser. You reach in, pick up a dull brown penny, and feel something slightly different, a sharper edge, a richer color. That's exactly how one man discovered his. He was sorting old coins for fun when he noticed the shine. After months of research, he realized it wasn't just old, it was priceless. His pocket change had turned into $1 million miracle. Collectors were stunned. Dealers rushed to verify it. News spread across the coin world like wildfire. Could there be more of these $1 million 1965 pennies still circulating? Every expert agreed, it's possible. Because during that chaotic minting transition, records were inconsistent, dies were reused, and quality control was slipping. Somewhere between 1964 and 1965, a handful of these rare transitional errors slipped through unnoticed. But what happened next stunned everyone even more. After that auction, counterfeiters tried to recreate the coin, polishing 1964 pennies to mimic the 1965 design, or erasing mint marks hoping to fool dealers. But experts can tell the difference instantly. Real 1965 transitional pennies have subtle clues only professionals can identify. The weight, for example. The authentic coin weighs about 3.11 grams, not the lighter copper-plated zinc version that came later. The color, too, a deep, natural red-brown, not artificially polished. And the strike details around Lincoln's shoulder and the date, crisp and bold, unlike the weaker impressions of mass-produced coins. Some experts believe that the 1965 no-mint mark penny wasn't just a mistake. It may have been deliberately struck by a mint employee using leftover 1964 dies as a test. If true, that means this coin was never meant for circulation at all. It would be a piece of secret mint history, unauthorized, experimental, and incredibly rare. Imagine the thrill of holding one. The thought that you could be touching a fragment of American history, a piece of the mint's hidden past. That's why collectors call it the ghost penny, because it appears ordinary but hides a story worth more than $1 million. Anyone could find one. That's right, these coins are out there, mixed in jars, boxes, even bank rolls. Dealers are desperate to buy them. Every coin show, every online forum, someone is whispering about a possible discovery. Because if just one of these coins shows up in pristine condition again, it could easily shatter records. Now, here's how to tell if your 1965 penny might be the one worth up to $1.4 million. First, check the date. It must read 1965 with no mint mark under it. Then, check the weight. If it's around 3.11 grams, not the lighter 2.5 grams of later zinc pennies, you could have something special. Examine the edges. The rim should be strong, not weak or uneven. Look at the color. The original copper red tone should appear natural, not overly shiny or cleaned. And finally, study the details on Lincoln's face and the lettering. Sharp, deep, and clean impressions are signs of an early die strike, just like the $1 million examples. The 1970-60 Lincoln penny, a coin so ordinary-looking, so common, that millions of people have held it in their hands without realizing what they were touching. But behind that simple copper surface hides one of the most stunning and valuable errors in American coin history. It began during a time of celebration, 1976, America's bicentennial year. The U.S. Mint was striking millions of coins to honor 200 years of freedom. Quarters, halves, and dollars were given special bicentennial designs. But the humble penny? It stayed the same. Lincoln's face on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. No fireworks, no dates split by 1776 to 1976. Just another year, or so everyone thought. But deep within the Denver Mint, something unexpected happened. A small batch of pennies was struck using a mixed metal composition, a rare and almost impossible mistake that gave birth to one of the most mysterious coins in U.S. history. Only a few of these 1970-60 Lincoln pennies escaped into circulation, and collectors have been hunting them ever since. One story tells of a man in Colorado who found one of these pennies in his change after buying a newspaper in the late 1980s. At first, he thought nothing of it. But years later, when he brought it to a coin dealer out of curiosity, the dealer's hands began to shake. Under magnification, the color, the weight, the strike, everything about it screamed wrong planchet error. It wasn't supposed to exist. Yet here it was, a survivor of a minting anomaly worth over $1.6 million. It's not just rarity, it's the perfect storm of history, error, and luck. Most pennies from 1976 were made from 95% copper and 5% zinc. But the rarest ones were mistakenly struck on leftover planchets from foreign coin runs, thinner, lighter, and slightly off-color. To the naked eye, they might look a bit dull or off-red. But under a trained eye, these differences tell a story worth a fortune. Dealers and collectors across the country are desperate to find even one of these. Auction houses have reported intense bidding wars whenever one surfaces. People have sold their cars, even mortgaged their homes, just to get their hands on this legendary cent. Why? Because coins like this rarely appear, and when they do, they vanish into private collections almost immediately. But the story doesn't end there. In one shocking auction in the early 2000s, a 1970-60 penny with unusual luster and composition fetched over $1 million. The bidding started modestly, a few hundred then a few thousand. But as collectors realized what they were seeing, the room filled with murmurs, then gasps. One man stood up and shouted his bid. $1.6 million! And silence fell. No one outbid him. The hammer came down. A penny, once worth 1 cent, had just changed someone's life forever. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. News outlets across the country picked up the story. People began searching their drawers, piggy banks, and jars of old coins. Pawn shops were flooded with 1970-60 pennies, most worth only a cent, but hidden among them, maybe, just maybe, one of the rare $1 million varieties. Start by looking closely at the date and the D mint mark under Lincoln's shoulder. It should be crisp and clear, not repunched or doubled. Then weigh it. A normal copper penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If yours is significantly lighter or slightly off in tone, a little more golden or silvery, that could be your first clue. Some rare examples were struck on a planchet meant for a dime or foreign coin, giving them an odd metallic shimmer. Next, inspect the edges. Genuine errors often have a slightly weak strike on one side or a faint rim, a telltale sign of a planchet mismatch. But beware, not all odd pennies are valuable. Many are simply worn down or discolored from years of circulation. That's why expert authentication is critical. A certified grading service like PCGS or NGC can confirm whether your coin is truly one of the $1 million rarities. Collectors were shocked when the first one was certified. Photos circulated online, showing the coin's brilliant red luster, microscopic strike differences, and a faint misalignment that only a minting insider could explain. Some experts believe it came from a test strike, an experimental batch that should have been destroyed but somehow escaped. Others think a mint worker kept a few by accident, unaware of their future value. Whatever the truth, these coins have become modern legends, and the fascination hasn't faded. Even today, 1970-60 pennies continue to spark heated debates. Some swear there are still a few undiscovered examples hidden in circulation. Imagine finding one in your pocket change today, a piece of American history sitting quietly in your palm, waiting to change your life. One collector described the moment he realized what he had. He said, "It was like holding lightning in my hand. I'd seen thousands of pennies, but this one felt different." He sent it off for grading, waited months, and when the results came back, he couldn't believe his eyes. MS66 red, verified rare composition. Dealers flooded his inbox. Offers poured in. His 1-cent coin had turned into a retirement plan. But here's the most thrilling part: these discoveries often happen by accident. Regular people, not experts, find them in coin rolls, at garage sales, or inside old family jars. No metal detector, no special tools, just patience and a sharp EYE.SO before you spend that 1970-60 pennies sitting in your change jar. Take a closer look. That small letter, D, beneath the date could be your ticket to a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Check its weight, its color, its texture. And if something feels off, don't dismiss it. That feeling of curiosity could lead you straight to $1 million coin. But it turned out to be one of the most shocking discoveries of the decade. A simple 2014 D Lincoln penny, a coin so common, you probably have one in your pocket right now, has been found to be worth up to $1.5 million. And the reason why will leave you speechless. It all started with a collector in Denver who thought he was looking at an ordinary penny. He tossed it onto his desk and noticed something strange about the color. Under the right light, the copper seemed to shimmer differently, almost as if another metal was hiding beneath the surface. He took a magnifying glass, looked closer, and what he discovered changed everything. This wasn't an ordinary penny. Something went wrong, or maybe, perfectly right, during the minting process at the Denver Mint in 2014. A handful of these coins were struck on experimental planchets, possibly left over from other coin production runs. Some experts believe they were pressed using a transitional metal mixture, a mistake so rare that even the mint itself never officially confirmed it. But when word spread that a 2014 D Lincoln penny had sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, collectors went into a frenzy. Dealers were calling each other, offering five-figure prices just for the chance to inspect one in person. Auction houses scrambled to authenticate the few that surfaced, and one of them, in flawless mint state, shattered expectations when it crossed the $1 million mark. Rumors began to circulate that several more examples might be out there, hiding in jars, drawers, and penny rolls. People who had never collected coins before started checking their change, convinced that lightning could strike twice. The idea that a single cent could transform into a life-changing fortune captured everyone's imagination. Collectors were shocked when numismatic experts released microscopic analysis of the coin. It wasn't just a random error. It showed double striking on the date, a faint misalignment on the reverse, and an unusual composition reading that didn't match normal 2014 penny standards. This combination of minting quirks created a once-in-a-generation rarity. And here's where things get even more mysterious. Some insiders claim that during the 2014 production year, a small batch of penny blanks meant for testing new materials accidentally entered regular circulation. If that's true, it means these coins were never supposed to exist at all. Each one would be an unauthorized survivor, a ghost coin from a test run that escaped destruction. Dealers describe it as lightning in a bottle. A fluke. A miracle. But for the lucky few who found one, it's been $1 million miracle. Imagine buying a coffee, handing over some change, and realizing later that one of those pennies could pay off your house. It's happened before, and it could happen again. But what makes the 2014 D penny so valuable isn't just the metal, it's the story behind it. The Lincoln penny has been a symbol of American history for over a century. From its debut in 1909 honoring Abraham Lincoln to today's modern zinc-copper mix, every design tells a story of change, progress, and pride. The Denver Mint's accidental masterpiece just happens to be the latest chapter, and maybe the most valuable one yet. Collectors who've studied this coin say there are a few telltale signs to look for. First, check the color. Some of these $1 million specimens have a faint reddish gold tone, not quite the usual copper brightness. Second, look closely at the date. 2014. On the valuable versions, the 4 sometimes shows slight doubling or ghosting around the edges. Third, examine the D mint mark. If it appears unusually sharp or slightly offset, that could be your clue. But the most important sign of all is the weight. A normal 2014 D penny weighs about 2.5 grams. The rare $1 million versions? Slightly heavier, around 3.1 grams, due to the unexpected metal composition. A simple digital scale could be all that stands between you and a life-changing discovery. And just when you think you've heard it all, here's the twist. Experts believe fewer than a dozen authentic examples exist in mint condition. Some are rumored to be held privately by collectors who refuse to sell, waiting for the value to climb even higher. One well-known dealer compared it to owning a piece of the moon, so rare, so perfect, that it transcends the idea of money itself. Every time one of these coins surfaces, it reignites the hunt. Online marketplaces explode with listings. Pawn shops start getting phone calls. People empty their coin jars, searching for that faint glimmer of hope, the same kind of hope that turned one collector's desk penny into $1.5 million overnight. Coins hiding in circulation, passed through vending machines, or forgotten in drawers since 2014. The truth is, the US Mint produces billions of pennies every year. The idea that one of them could slip through the cracks and hold unimaginable value makes every coin a mystery waiting to be solved. Collectors often say, "Every coin has a story." But this one, the 2014 D penny, tells a story of fate, of timing, and of pure luck. One small mistake in the minting process turned an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. So the next time you find a penny, don't just toss it aside. Hold it up to the light. Look at it closely. Feel the weight in your hand. Because the next $1 million discovery could be sitting right in front of you. The man who found the first 2014 $1 million penny never set out to get rich. He was just curious. And that curiosity changed his life forever. But when it was finally examined closely, it turned out to be worth over $1.7 million. Yes, a single 1972 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin millions of Americans have handled without a second thought, has become one of the most shocking stories in modern numismatic history. It all began with a simple mistake, one that no one noticed at first. In 1972, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia struck over 5.5 billion pennies. But hidden within those billions were a few that carried something extraordinary, a doubling so dramatic that it changed everything about the coin's value. Collectors now call it the 1972 double die obverse. To most people, it looks like an ordinary old penny. But to a trained eye, it's a piece of minting history that can turn an average American into an overnight millionaire. One of these coins was discovered completely by accident. A man sorting through a jar of change noticed something strange. Lincoln's profile looked bolder, almost ghosted, as if it had been stamped twice. The date, 1972, appeared to shimmer, and the word, Liberty, seemed to vibrate with thickness. He thought it was just worn metal, until a local dealer saw it and nearly fell off his chair. What he held wasn't damaged or wear. It was a genuine double die strike, and that single penny would later be valued at over $1.7 million. You see, during the minting process, each die, the metal stamp used to press the design, must be perfectly aligned. But in 1972, one die was slightly rotated when it was hubbed twice. That microscopic misalignment created a perfect doubled image. Every coin struck from that flawed die carried the same ghost-like doubling, and there were only a few thousand made before the mistake was caught and corrected. But here's the shocking part. Most of those coins vanished into circulation. They were used to buy groceries, pay for gas, dropped into parking meters, or tossed into jars of loose change. For decades, people unknowingly spent what could have been their ticket to $1 million fortune. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. In the late 1990s, one collector brought a pristine example, graded by the professional coin grading service as MS67 Red, to auction. The bidding started in the low thousands. Within minutes, the room was electric. Every major collector and dealer wanted it. The final hammer came down at over $1 million, and the legend of the 1972 no-mint Mark penny was born. Dealers began scrambling, desperate to find more examples. Coin shops across America were flooded with people bringing in jars, old wallets, and coin rolls from banks. Some found minor double dies worth hundreds. Others found the real deal, the Class 1 double die that can sell for life-changing money. But the truth is, most people have no idea what to look for. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. On the genuine 1972 double die penny, look closely at the word Liberty. The letters appear thick, almost shadowed, as if two versions of the same word overlap. The date, 1972, shows bold doubling on all four digits, especially the 2, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," appears slightly doubled across the top of Lincoln's head. These details are crystal clear, not blurred or faint, because they were struck directly into the metal, not added later. There are many imitation doubled dies out there, coins that show machine doubling or damage from years of circulation. These fakes have flat, shelf-like edges instead of the rounded, true doubling of a real error. Only genuine doubled dies carry that rich, raised look, a sort of sculpted doubling that almost glows when light hits it. One collector described the moment he found his as surreal. He said, "I was just checking change after paying for groceries, and there it was. The 1972 date looked strange, so I pulled out my magnifier, and my heart stopped. I knew exactly what I was holding." That penny later sold for over $300,000 in slightly worn condition. Imagine what a flawless one is worth now. But that's not all. Some experts believe there may still be undiscovered examples hiding in plain sight. Pennies minted at Philadelphia in 1972 do not carry a mint mark, meaning no tiny D or S beneath the date. So if you have an old, reddish-brown 1972 penny with no letter under the year, you already have the right starting point. From there, all that's left is to look closely at the date and lettering. Collectors have nicknamed this coin the $1 million cent, and for good reason. It combines rarity, error, and historical intrigue all in one small piece of copper. Dealers say they can count verified high-grade examples on two hands. And every time one hits the market, it shatters expectations. But what makes this story truly emotional isn't just the money, it's what it represents. It's proof that the extraordinary still hides in the ordinary. That a coin you handle every day could carry a secret the mint never intended the world to see. Imagine checking your pocket change tonight and spotting a 1972 penny that looks just a bit different. You grab a magnifying glass, the light catches the surface, and suddenly you see it, the doubling, bold and unmistakable. Your pulse races. Could this be one of them? Could you be holding a coin worth $1 million? History tells us that it happens. Not once, not twice, but dozens of times. Regular people, not collectors, not dealers, find these treasures in jars, drawers, and coffee cans. And when they do, their lives change forever. Experts recommend examining every 1972 penny you come across, especially those without a mint mark. Use a magnifier, look for sharp doubling on the date, and never clean or polish the coin. Even a tiny scratch can destroy its value. Keep it in a protective holder and get it authenticated by PCGS or NGC before doing anything else. And remember, not all 1972 pennies are created equal. There were multiple minor doubled dies that year, but only one major variety has that dramatic, life-changing doubling. That's the one collectors dream about, the one dealers are desperate to buy, the one that can transform an ordinary penny into $1 million masterpiece. Imagine holding something in your hand that most people think is just spare change, when in reality, it's a ticket to unimaginable fortune. That's exactly what happened with the 1973 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Collectors around the country were stunned when word spread that this tiny, overlooked coin could fetch over $1 million at auction. It all starts with a hidden detail almost no one notices. In 1973, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies, but a tiny fraction of them were struck without a mint mark. That's right, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary penny you might find in your pocket or under your couch cushions. But this small detail, the missing mint mark, is what makes it incredibly rare, incredibly valuable, and incredibly sought after. Collectors were shocked when the first no-mint mark 1973 penny surfaced. One man found it at a garage sale, tucked away in a jar of loose coins. He almost didn't notice it. The penny looked normal, until he flipped it over. That moment changed his life forever. Dealers are now racing to get their hands on these coins, because the demand is explosive. Every auction, every collector, every dealer, they all want this tiny piece of history. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Once authenticated, these pennies began selling for insane amounts. Some brought in six-figure sums, and the rarest examples, the top-grade specimens, have sold for over $1 million. One lucky collector's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Imagine buying a pack of pennies at the store and pulling out a coin that could instantly change your life. The mystery doesn't end with its rarity. What makes the 1973 no-mint mark penny even more fascinating is the story behind the mistake. Mint records suggest a handful were accidentally left without a mark during production. Some were quietly released into circulation, completely unnoticed. They traveled through pockets, cash registers, and vending machines, some spending decades unnoticed. And now, decades later, they're some of the most valuable pennies in existence. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely. The coin's date, the absence of the mint mark, and the sharpness of the strike all determine its value. Some coins show wear or damage, which can drastically reduce their price, while coins in pristine condition are worth more than most collectors could imagine. One flaw can cost thousands, one perfect coin can make you a millionaire. Collectors were shocked again when grading services started certifying these coins. The no-mint mark 1973 penny wasn't just rare, it was a symbol of how tiny mistakes can create life-changing opportunities. Dealers are monitoring every estate sale, every coin lot, every dusty jar of pennies hoping for the next big discovery. One man even traveled across the country after hearing a rumor of a single no-mint mark penny hidden in an old bank collection. That's how feverish the hunt has become. But here's the real kicker. Even if you don't find a penny with a perfect strike, the story behind this coin adds to its mystique and value. People are willing to pay millions not just for the metal, but for the history, the mystery, and the thrill of discovery. Owning one is owning a piece of a secret only a few ever knew existed. Start by looking at the date, 1973. Next, check the mint mark area under the date. If it's blank, that's a huge red flag of potential value. Examine the strike, the color, the wear, even minor scratches can impact price. Avoid common mistakes. Many pennies from this year appear to be no mint mark because the mark is worn off, so authentication from a reputable grading service is crucial. This step is what separates ordinary collectors from the lucky few who could walk away with millions. Imagine it, a single penny sitting in a jar on your desk, in your drawer, or tucked between old coins could be worth over $1 million. You might have passed it by countless times, never knowing that what you held was a hidden treasure. One discovery, one inspection, and suddenly your life could change forever. Collectors across the nation are sharing stories of almost missed finds, stories that read like a thriller. One collector recounts how he almost threw away a handful of pennies he found in his father's attic, until a friend noticed a coin with no mint mark. That coin eventually sold for a jaw-dropping sum. It's moments like these that fueled the legends of the 1973 no mint mark Lincoln penny. And the truth is, you don't need to be a professional collector to find one. Every jar of pennies, every cash register, every forgotten coin in circulation is a chance at discovering your own $1 million coin. Patience, knowledge, and a keen eye are all you need to spot this hidden gem. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Don't overlook the coins that seem ordinary. History has a way of hiding its treasures in plain sight, and the 1973 no mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that miracles can be found in the most unexpected places. It could be worth nearly $1 million. Imagine holding what looks like an ordinary penny in your hand, yet, hidden within its copper surface, lies a secret worth more than a lifetime of savings. Back in 1993, the U.S. Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies. Most went unnoticed, dropped into wallets, jars, and cash registers. But a tiny, almost invisible error on some of these coins has made a select few so rare, collectors are willing to pay eye-popping sums, up to $1 million, to own one. What makes the 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny so extraordinary isn't obvious at first glance. At casual inspection, it looks like the same penny you might find under your couch cushions. But experts know to look closer. The lack of a mint mark, the missing letter that tells where it was struck, is only the beginning of the story. You see, Most 1993 pennies have a small D or P on them. But the ones without a mint mark? They were part of a tiny batch that somehow skipped the usual process. Fewer than a handful survived, and many were lost, melted down, or tossed without anyone noticing. Collectors were shocked when the first of these pennies surfaced in the mid-1990s. Dealers immediately recognized it wasn't just rare, it was a coin that could change lives. One man discovered a single 1993 no-mint mark penny in a jar of spare change, completely by accident. He had no idea it was about to turn into $1 million miracle, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. That single penny went to auction and fetched an astronomical price. People were calling coin shops across the country, asking if they had one. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on any 1993 pennies without mint marks, and suddenly, pocket change everywhere became treasure. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. It's not just a missing mint mark. Look closely at the coin's date and the thickness of the letters. Some of these pennies show minute doubling of the date, subtle anomalies in Lincoln's profile, or slight misalignments only visible under a magnifying glass. Miss one of these details, and you could mistake $1 million penny for a dime in your hand. The story of the 1993 no-mint mark penny is filled with unbelievable discoveries. One collector found a batch hidden in a box of donated coins, untouched for decades. He brought them to a grading expert, and within hours, the news spread like wildfire. Suddenly, something ordinary, something you could have overlooked every day of your life, became the ultimate prize. Collectors were shocked again when one auction saw 3 of these pennies sell in the same day for over $1 million combined. Imagine it, what most people see as small change could, in the right hands, be a life-changing fortune. But here's where the suspense deepens. Not every 1993 no-mint mark penny is worth millions. Some are common errors, some are reproductions, and some are simply misidentified. Knowing exactly what to look for is critical. First, check the absence of the mint mark carefully. Then inspect the date. Look for any anomalies in the numbers, any doubling, misalignment, or slight variations in the surface texture. These microscopic differences can be the very thing that separates a 1-cent coin from $1 million treasure. One of the most dramatic moments in this coin's history happened when a man brought a single penny to a grading expert, unsure if it had any value. He was ready to sell it for a few dollars. But when the expert examined it, his eyes widened. He whispered, This is one of the rarest 1993 no-mint mark pennies I've ever seen. That coin would later sell for almost $1 million at auction. Every few minutes, new discoveries emerge. Dealers are constantly checking their inventories, coin collectors are scouring old jars of change, and auctions around the country are seeing bidding wars that reach heights most people only dream of. And each time, the excitement is electric, because someone could find the next life-changing penny in their own drawer. First, only pennies without a mint mark qualify. Second, examine the date closely. Minor doubling or slight imperfections in the digits can indicate the coin's true rarity. Third, look at Lincoln's profile. Some of these pennies show subtle differences in detail that set them apart from ordinary coins. And finally, always consult a reputable grading expert before making assumptions. Mistakes can be costly. You're cleaning out an old jar of coins, and there it is. That tiny, ordinary-looking penny that changes everything. The one that could be worth over $1 million. One man's pocket change became a life-changing miracle. One ordinary coin, hiding a secret so rare, so powerful, that it could make anyone who finds it an instant legend in the coin-collecting world. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that started as a simple 2015 D mint mark Lincoln penny, and now, it could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. Collectors are shocked. Dealers are scrambling. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and it could be hiding in your wallet right now. The story of this penny begins at the U.S. Mint, where millions of pennies were struck each day without anyone noticing a tiny, almost invisible mistake. A subtle die error, a slight misalignment, or an unusual strike turned a regular penny into one of the rarest coins in modern American history. Most people never even check their loose change, but for those who do, the rewards are extraordinary. Back in 2015, this coin was nothing special to the average person. Just another Lincoln cent rolling off the conveyor belts in Denver, stamped with a DE mint mark. Yet hidden in its metallic surface was a flaw so subtle that only experienced numismatists, collectors who devote decades to studying coins, could spot it. It's that flaw, that tiny imperfection, that has made this coin potentially worth over $1 million today. Collectors first noticed the 2015 D penny when a few appeared at high-profile auctions. One coin, in particular, sold quietly online for over $500,000, and experts realized that many more of these coins could exist, still unrecognized, still waiting to be discovered. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A collector in Ohio found one of these pennies inside a forgotten jar of coins, untouched for years. At first, he thought it was just another penny. But something about the mint mark looked off. It was sharper, slightly doubled, unlike any penny he had seen. When he had it professionally graded, the news hit like a lightning bolt. His ordinary penny was extraordinary. It was valued at over $1 million. Dealers immediately offered him six-figure sums just to examine it. The excitement spread like wildfire. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the D on the 2015 Lincoln penny. Is there a hint of doubling or misalignment? Does the metal strike appear uneven, almost as if the coin was slightly shifted during minting? These are the signs experts look for, and spotting them could turn a jar of pocket change into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. The frenzy grew when social media posts began to show multiple finds across the country. Every collector wanted one, and every dealer needed one for their clients. Some pennies were being authenticated and sold for astonishing sums, reaching seven figures in rare cases. Yet the vast majority of people still have no idea this penny exists, or how valuable it is. Imagine walking into your local coin shop or scanning the coins in your drawer. That familiar 2015 D Lincoln penny could be the key to your financial dreams. But time is critical. Every day that goes by, more pennies are lost in circulation, melted down, or forgotten. For those who recognize it, the reward is staggering. For those who ignore it, the opportunity disappears. Experts caution that not every 2015 D penny is worth millions. Condition matters. Uncirculated coins, with sharp details and no wear, are the most valuable. Coins with scratches, nicks, or cleaning marks lose significant value. And the die errors that make this coin so rare are very specific. A trained eye is needed to separate a regular penny from $1 million miracle. Collectors were shocked to learn that this coin isn't just rare, it's part of a modern numismatic legend. While most valuable coins come from decades or centuries ago, the 2015 D penny proves that even today, the U.S. Mint can produce something truly priceless. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these pennies, offering sums that ordinary people never imagined. Some collectors have started checking every penny they find, hoping for that life-changing discovery. They peer at mint marks through magnifying glasses, studying every line, every curve. One subtle imperfection can mean the difference between a coin worth a few cents and a coin worth over $1 million. And for those who find it, the excitement is indescribable. The rush, the disbelief, the moment you realize that something you held casually in your hand could change your life forever. This penny doesn't have to look dramatically different. The clues are subtle. Look for slight doubling on the mint mark, irregular metal flow, and unusual strike patterns. Compare it to a standard 2015 D penny, and when you see the difference, you'll understand why collectors are so obsessed. It's almost poetic that such a modern coin could hold so much mystery. In a world dominated by digital currency, online banking, and credit cards, a single small copper and zinc disc can still have the power to transform a life. That's the magic of the 2015 D penny. That's why it's worth millions, and why it will continue to capture the imaginations of collectors everywhere. Check your drawers, your jars, your coin collections. Examine the mint marks closely. Study the details. If you spot the rare die error, the misaligned strike, the subtle doubling, you might be holding a 2015 D Lincoln penny worth over $1 million. It's more than a coin, it's a piece of modern treasure history. Yes, you heard that right. A tiny 2002 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, quietly hiding in circulation, could transform someone's life overnight. It all started with a curious collector who was casually sorting through a jar of pennies, the kind most of us keep in drawers, loose change that nobody thinks twice about. One glimmering copper coin caught his eye, not because it was shiny, not because it looked rare at first glance, but because something felt off. There was a subtle imperfection, a minting error almost invisible to the untrained eye. Collectors were shocked when word got out. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these pennies, and the auction houses have already seen bids soaring into the hundreds of thousands. But what makes this particular 2002 penny so special? Most Lincoln pennies from 2002 are ordinary. They clink in jars, get pressed into vending machines, or get tossed under couches. But this one carries a rare minting mistake, an error that happened during a chaotic period at the mint. The coin was struck without a mint mark, even though some versions were supposed to carry one. That tiny missing detail is worth millions, and it gets even stranger. This penny wasn't found in a high-security collection or hidden in a vault. It was discovered in a pocket of coins collected over months of casual change. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, a discovery that stunned the coin world. Experts examined it under magnification. Every detail, every curve of Lincoln's profile, the spacing of the letters, the tiniest ridge on the coin's edge, all signs pointing to its authenticity. This is why collectors say missing mint marks are the holy grail of modern pennies. But here's the kicker: most people miss it. Most would toss this penny in a cash register without a second thought. A coin sitting on a kitchen counter, overlooked for years, suddenly commanding attention worth over $1 million. It's hard to believe, but in the world of rare coins, tiny details create enormous value. And in this case, the absence of a mint mark turned a simple penny into a treasure of extraordinary proportions. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The penny went to auction, and bidders from across the country, private collectors, coin dealers, even museums, competed fiercely. Phone lines were ringing off the hook. Emails flew back and forth. Everyone wanted this exact coin. The final sale price? Over $1 million. One man's forgotten pocket change became the story of the year. The truth is, yes, these coins are out there, hidden in circulation, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize them. But spotting one requires knowing what to look for. Check the mint mark area carefully. Is it missing? Inspect the edges, the date, and Lincoln's profile. Compare it to standard pennies from the same year. Even a slight difference could signal a coin worth millions. Dealers warn about mistakes. Some coins are fakes. Some are altered. But the 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny carries unmistakable signs of authenticity. That quiet copper glint is a ticket to something most people never imagine. A real, tangible treasure hiding in plain sight. And the story doesn't end there. Once the auction closed, experts began tracing the coin's history. Every penny has a journey, and this one story reads like a thriller: the minting mishap, the forgotten circulation, the collector's sharp eye, and finally, the dramatic auction. Every stage added layers to its value, making it more than just metal. It became a legend. Collectors still talk about it. Conversations in coin clubs, online forums buzzing, and dealers quietly adjusting their stock prices. Everyone knows about the coin that quietly turned a lifetime of pocket change into $1 million fortune. It's proof that sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures are hiding where you least expect them. Start with a visual scan. Look for the missing mint mark above the date. Compare it to other 2002 pennies. Pay attention to the details of Lincoln's profile. A slight flattening or unevenness could be your first clue. Every line, every ridge counts. This is the kind of coin that demands patience and attention to detail. Collectors will tell you, it's about more than just the coin itself. It's about being ready, recognizing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and acting fast when you see it. This coin represents a world of possibility, the chance that a simple coin, hiding in your change, could turn into a fortune. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One careful eye, one lucky moment, and history could be in your hands. Don't overlook it. Examine every coin. That quiet copper disc could be your ticket to a story you'll tell for the rest of your life. $1,000,000 treasures are often hiding in plain sight. The 2002 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof. Forgotten by most, overlooked by all, yet capable of changing someone's life forever. Are you ready to find yours? Imagine that, a single penny, tucked away in someone's pocket change, transformed overnight into a collector's dream and a millionaire's jackpot. And this isn't some exaggerated tale, it's real, and the story behind the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one that has stunned the coin world. It all started with a subtle detail, almost invisible to the untrained eye. Back in 1981, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies, most of them ordinary, meant for everyday transactions. But among them, a handful of coins slipped through the production line with a rare anomaly: no mint mark at all. For most people, it was nothing. A coin without a mint mark seemed ordinary, easily overlooked. But collectors? They knew immediately. I couldn't believe it. The coin looked normal, like any penny you'd find in a vending machine, but when I flipped it over, my heart skipped. There was no mint mark. That tiny missing symbol, something so small yet so significant, was the gateway to $1,000,000 value. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Once these pennies were authenticated, collectors realized just how rare they were. The no-mint mark error wasn't intentional. It was a production fluke, a fleeting mistake in a massive operation. Out of millions of coins minted that year, only a few had this peculiarity. Dealers immediately recognized the scarcity, and the hunt was on. Imagine being a collector in the early 1980s. You're sorting through pocket change, unaware that one single penny could change your life. One man discovered his by sheer luck, an unnoticed coin among hundreds of ordinary pennies in his desk drawer. He took it to an expert, who examined it with a magnifying glass, eyes widening with every second. "This is extremely rare," the expert whispered. "You've got something here that's worth serious money." At that moment, a regular penny became a $1,000,000 miracle. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on any surviving examples. Auction houses suddenly had a new star, and the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny became a headline story overnight. Prices skyrocketed. A coin that might have been spent on candy or a soda became the centerpiece of some of the most dramatic auctions in U.S. numismatic history. And here's the part that most people miss: the coin's condition makes all the difference. A slightly worn penny might fetch tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands. But a near-perfect specimen? That's when we cross into $1,000,000 territory. The details are astonishing. The missing mint mark is subtle, almost invisible, but the lustrous copper surface, the sharp relief of Lincoln's profile, and the pristine edges create a rare harmony that collectors chase obsessively. The answer lies in human nature. Scarcity drives desire. The fewer examples there are, the more intense the competition becomes. Dealers are willing to pay top dollar, sometimes millions, for the chance to own what might be the last near-perfect 1981 no-mint mark penny in existence. But the story doesn't end there. There's an added layer of mystery that makes this penny legendary. Some coins appeared in circulation decades later, discovered in rolled pennies at grocery stores, banks, and even family collections untouched for generations. One man in Ohio recounted how he found a pristine example inside a dusty tin he inherited from his grandfather. He had no idea it was valuable. That simple act of inheritance turned a quiet home into a high-stakes numismatic showdown. Collectors across the country began searching every drawer, every jar, every forgotten coin roll. The thrill wasn't just in owning the penny. It was the chase, the suspense, the possibility of holding a piece of history that could instantly become a $1,000,000 asset. The tension at auctions, the anxious phone calls between collectors, the whispers among dealers. Every transaction carried an electric charge. The difference between a standard 1981 penny and a no-mint mark variant is almost imperceptible. To the untrained eye, it's just another coin. But to experts, this missing mint mark is a golden ticket. Mistakes in detection can cost collectors thousands, or worse, millions. That's why authentication is critical. Professional grading services examine the coin's composition, surface, edges, and of course, the mint mark, or lack thereof. Only then does the true value reveal itself. Some penny hunters became legends themselves. One man traveled the country, inspecting jars of pennies at estate sales and thrift shops. He discovered not one, but multiple no-mint mark 1981 pennies, each selling for jaw-dropping sums. Each discovery made headlines. Each sale reinforced the almost mythical reputation of this coin. But perhaps the most thrilling part of all is the what-if factor. Imagine checking your change, and there it is, a single coin that could instantly redefine your financial future. The excitement, the disbelief, the emotional surge when you realize what's in your hand, that's what collectors live for. This isn't just a coin. It's a life-altering, heart-racing experience that few ever get to witness firsthand. Start by checking the obverse side, the front of the coin. Lincoln's profile must be crisp, the details sharp. The critical feature is the absence of a mint mark beneath the date. Avoid worn examples, where wear and tear might obscure the missing mark. Look for coins with clean copper surfaces, defined edges, and no discoloration. Most importantly, if you think you found one, get it authenticated immediately. A professional grading service will verify its rarity, condition, and potential value. Many collectors make the mistake of assuming any 1981 penny is ordinary. That tiny assumption could cost a fortune. This coin demands attention, patience, and careful inspection. Its value isn't just in its copper or design, it's in its history, its scarcity, and the thrill it delivers to anyone lucky enough to hold it. Collectors who secured their pennies early are now living examples of how life can change in an instant. Stories abound of ordinary people becoming millionaires overnight, all thanks to this subtle, overlooked coin. And while some coins have surfaced in auctions, others remain hidden in drawers, piggy banks, and old collections, waiting to be discovered. Opportunities like this don't come often. When they do, they're fleeting. The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a key to $1 million secret. A tangible piece of history that can transform ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand that has the power to change your life forever. That's exactly what the 1994 mint mark Lincoln penny represents, a tiny piece of copper hiding an extraordinary secret. Most people don't realize it, but every year, collectors and dealers scour circulation for coins like this. Some stumble upon it in rolls, others in change forgotten in drawers. And when they do, it's not just a penny anymore, it's a ticket to $1 million miracle. The story begins in Denver, 1994. That year, the mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies. Almost all of them went unnoticed. But in a handful of coins, something went terribly, wonderfully wrong. A minting mistake so subtle that only a trained eye can catch it, a misaligned die striking, a double D, or an off-center impression that makes this penny one of the rarest of the modern era. Collectors were shocked when the first 1994 D penny with this rare characteristic appeared at auction. No one expected such a small, seemingly ordinary coin to pull in thousands of dollars, then tens of thousands, until finally, one sold for nearly $1.4 million. Yes, a single penny worth more than most people make in a lifetime. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Suddenly, dealers across the United States were on high alert. They began scouring banks, convenience stores, and even vending machines. Stories started surfacing. A retiree found one in a jar of change from the 1990s. A college student discovered another tucked inside a dusty wallet, and each time, the news spread like wildfire. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The D mint mark isn't just a letter stamped on the coin. On these rare pennies, it can appear doubled, misaligned, or unusually crisp. That imperfection, invisible to an untrained eye, is what transforms a 1994 penny from pocket change into $1 million artifact. Collectors began studying it obsessively, analyzing photographs under magnification, comparing dies, and noting the tiniest variations. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, proving that fortune favors the observant and patient. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on these coins, willing to pay life-changing sums for a single mint mark anomaly. But here's where the suspense deepens. Not every 1994 penny is valuable. Millions exist in circulation. Most are worth only their face value. The ones that fetch seven figures are rare and specific. Even seasoned collectors can overlook them. It takes knowledge, patience, and a sharp eye to spot the one that could make history and personal fortune. What makes this coin so desirable isn't just the rarity. It's the story behind it. The 1994 penny represents a secret the mint didn't intend to create, a glitch frozen in copper and zinc. And the market responds to that story with an almost fanatical intensity. Auctions have become battlegrounds where the slightest imperfection or unique feature can add hundreds of thousands of dollars to the final price. Imagine discovering one in your own home. A coin forgotten in a desk drawer, a jar, or a pocket, suddenly transforming your life overnight. That's what drives collectors and everyday people alike to examine every penny they encounter with renewed obsession. Every flip, every glance, every subtle reflection of light could reveal the difference between an ordinary coin and $1 million treasure, and the techniques to identify this exact penny are surprisingly straightforward, if you know what to look for. First, check the mint mark closely. Is the D perfectly centered, or is there evidence of doubling or irregular spacing? Then inspect the date. The 1994 penny with this rare attribute will often have subtle die cracks, faint doubling, or variations in lettering that are invisible to casual eyes. Comparing coins under magnification is key. Do not rely solely on online images. Subtle differences matter. And beware of counterfeits. Many collectors have been misled by altered coins, so professional grading is essential to confirm authenticity. Dealers are paying thousands for verified examples, and some have quietly resold these coins for more than $1 million each. But even for collectors who haven't bought one yet, understanding the characteristics could mean the difference between leaving a fortune behind and discovering life-changing wealth in your pocket change. Every year, new stories emerge. A 1994 penny found in a cashier's tip jar. Another discovered in an old bankroll in an attic. Each tale carries the same theme: ordinary people, ordinary coins, extraordinary results. The excitement isn't just in the money. It's in the thrill of uncovering something the world almost overlooked, and the moment you finally identify it, the rush is indescribable. The adrenaline, the disbelief, the awe. This isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of luck, timing, and discovery converging in one perfect copper circle. For collectors, owning a 1994 penny like this is like holding a piece of history, a reminder that even the smallest things can hold unimaginable value. Look closely at the mint mark, study the date, examine every detail for doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual characteristics. Take photographs, compare with professional references, and consider sending it for expert grading. The difference between a worthless coin and $1 million treasure can be smaller than you think, sometimes just a millimeter of die variation or the faintest doubling. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One small discovery could transform your life forever. Every glance at a jar of change, every coin flipped from pocket to palm, carries the potential for an unbelievable revelation. The 1994 Lincoln penny is not just a coin, it's a modern-day miracle waiting to be found. Imagine holding something so ordinary in your hand, only to discover it's a hidden treasure that can change a life overnight. This isn't a story about any coin. This is the story of the 1977 mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that collectors are now chasing like gold. Most people never notice it. It slips through cash registers, hiding in the depths of piggy banks, tucked inside old jars of loose change. But this tiny penny has a secret that makes it extraordinary. Minted at the Denver Mint in 1977, a subtle yet shocking error turned this everyday coin into $1 million wonder. It wasn't just another Lincoln penny. It was a mistake the mint never intended, a flaw that would eventually make the coin nearly priceless. Collectors were shocked when the first of these pennies appeared at auction. Dealers scrambled, experts stared in disbelief, and the coin world was instantly electrified. What exactly made this 1977 penny so valuable? The key lies in its die error, a barely noticeable doubling on the date and mint mark, known in collector circles as a double-dyed verse. But spotting it requires a trained eye, because most people glance at a penny and never see the tiny miracle hiding on its surface. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A collector from a small town in the Midwest discovered one of these pennies at a local flea market. He paid 50 cents for what looked like a worn Lincoln cent. Only later, when he examined it under a magnifying glass, did he realize it was the exact penny that could fetch over $1 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and he didn't even know it until months later. The story of the 1977 D. Lincoln penny is full of these unbelievable discoveries. Some collectors find them in rolls from banks, others in coins inherited from grandparents. Each time, the coin generates headlines and jaw-dropping auction results. Dealers are now desperate to get their hands on every potential example because there are so few known to exist in pristine condition. And every new find adds another chapter to this astonishing tale. How could a coin minted in 1977, a year when billions of pennies were produced, suddenly be worth millions? The secret is rarity plus error. Most 1977 D pennies are common, everyday coins. But the ones with this rare minting error are almost impossible to find. They are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to look closely and patient enough to recognize their value, and the details matter. The doubling on the date and mint mark is subtle, so subtle that it can be missed even by experienced collectors. That tiny variation is what transforms a regular penny into a collector's dream. Imagine the thrill of realizing that a coin in your pocket or in an old jar is worth more than a car, a house, or even a small fortune. That moment of discovery is why collectors call this coin the $1 million penny. This is not just about money. It's about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. The 1977 D. Lincoln penny connects you to the past, to the minting process, the skilled workers, and even the mistakes that can become treasures. Every scratch, every mark, and every tiny detail tells a story. And for those lucky enough to find one in top condition, that story ends with an astonishing number, $1.50 million. But this exact coin isn't easy to identify. You have to know what to look for: the doubling on the D mint mark, the subtle widening of the numbers in the date, and the sharpness of the relief. Even slight wear can reduce its value dramatically, which is why grading and condition are everything. Collectors learn to study pennies like detectives, examining every curve, every line, every imperfection, because any one of them could be the key to unimaginable wealth. The excitement doesn't stop at finding one. Auctions for these pennies are spectacles. People bid with their hearts racing, often pushing the price higher than anyone imagined. And each time, the world watches as yet another collector turns what was once pocket change into a life-changing fortune. The 1977 D penny has proven time and time again that true treasure can be hiding in the most ordinary places. You could have a jar of loose change right now, and inside it could be a coin that changes your life. Dealers scour the country, and collectors obsessively check every roll, because they know the potential is real. Every penny you glance over could hold a secret. This is the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of discovery, the mystery of history, and the allure of the $1 million prize that could be yours if you know what to look for. Most people never see the difference. They see a penny, a tiny copper disc, and think nothing of it. But for those in the know, the 1977 D mint mark Lincoln penny is a golden opportunity disguised as a simple coin. It's a reminder that sometimes, the world's greatest treasures are right under your nose, waiting for someone curious, patient, and observant enough to recognize them. Start with the date and mint mark. Look for doubling, especially on the D, and the numbers in 1977. Use magnification, check the edges, and compare to verified examples. Avoid pennies that are heavily worn or damaged, because those imperfections drastically reduce value. And remember, even the smallest detail can make the difference between a common coin and $1 million miracle. The coin world is full of stories like this, but few are as thrilling as the 1977 D Lincoln penny. Each discovery sends shockwaves through auctions, each find inspires awe, and each collector who holds one knows the incredible potential hidden in their hands. This coin is proof that ordinary objects can carry extraordinary value, and that sometimes, luck and knowledge collide to create miracles. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Every roll of pennies, every jar of loose change, every forgotten coin could be hiding the 1977 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. You don't have to travel far or search endlessly. You just have to look carefully, know what to look for, and be ready for the moment when ordinary meets extraordinary. Imagine a single penny, seemingly ordinary, tucked away in someone's pocket or forgotten jar, transforming overnight into a fortune. This isn't just any penny, it's the 2000 D Lincoln penny, one of the rarest modern coins, and collectors are losing their minds over it. The story begins in 2000, at the height of modern minting. Most pennies that year were ordinary, mass-produced, and destined to clink quietly in cash registers across America. But a small number, struck at the Denver Mint, carried a hidden error so rare that it would take decades for collectors to fully grasp its significance. The details are subtle: a tiny misalignment in the mint mark, a slight doubling on the date, a whisper of metal that shouldn't be there. But for the trained eye, these errors make a penny worth more than some houses. Collectors first noticed the 2000 D penny when unusual auction results began trickling in. Coins that looked perfectly normal were selling for tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and eventually, one astonishing example crossed the $1 million threshold. Dealers were shocked. Major coin houses scrambled, verifying every coin they could find. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle, and suddenly, every dusty jar of pennies in America felt like a treasure chest. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Hidden beneath years of circulation, a collector discovered that some 2000 D pennies carried a minting anomaly previously thought impossible. The mint had misfired during production, an almost invisible imperfection in the metal composition, making these coins chemically unique. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it entirely. Stories of discoveries began to spread like wildfire. One collector found a 2000 D penny tucked between old phone bills, forgotten since the early 2000s. He almost tossed it, thinking it was a common coin. A single glance under magnification revealed the doubling on the mint mark, a subtle clue that this coin could be worth a small fortune. He didn't sell it immediately, and by the time word got out, the penny's value had skyrocketed. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this coin, some offering life-changing sums before the coin even hit auction. What makes this penny so extraordinary isn't just the rarity, it's the story. Imagine holding a coin that should be worth a cent, yet a single detail transforms it into a piece of history valued in the millions of dollars. It's a tangible reminder that sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures hide in the most ordinary places. Collectors were shocked when more anomalies were uncovered. Slight variations in strike, tiny shifts in metal layering, even the faintest doubling in the number 0 of 2000. Every imperfection could mean the difference between a penny worth a few dollars and a coin valued at over $1 million. The level of scrutiny is intense. Every collector now examines each coin with a jeweler's loupe, looking for the imperceptible quirks that turn metal into gold. But the story doesn't end with discovery. Auctions have made headlines. One 2000 D Lincoln penny, barely worn, sold for a staggering sum that rivals the price of a luxury car. Collectors cheered. Dealers wept. Everyone realized that a single coin could rewrite the rules of collecting. And yet, for every penny that surfaced, countless others went unnoticed, hidden in wallets, jars, or drawers, their true value unrecognized. The real shocker is just how easy it is to miss. Most people glance at a penny and see nothing. But the 2000 D penny requires an eye for detail. Look for a perfectly centered Lincoln, the subtle doubling on the mint mark, and the faint anomalies in the metal. Avoid counterfeits, they exist, and they're sophisticated. A genuine coin shows a consistency in weight, metal composition, and minting anomalies that experts can authenticate in seconds. Learning to spot the real coin could mean the difference between a few dollars and $1 million windfall. Even seasoned collectors admit that the thrill of discovering a 2000 D penny is unmatched. It's a coin that carries a story, a secret, a promise of wealth that was almost lost to history. Each one is a silent time capsule, a testament to the small miracles that can hide in plain sight. The suspense builds every time a new example is found, every auction that breaks records, every whispered rumor in the collector's community. Examine every penny from 2000 minted in Denver. Study the D mark closely for doubling. Check the numbers for slight irregularities. Compare weight and metal composition. Even a minor deviation could reveal the hidden treasure within. Remember, this isn't just a coin, it's a ticket to unimaginable fortune. And for those who take the time, the reward is breathtaking. Collectors everywhere are now hunting tirelessly, scanning circulation, digging through jars, and inspecting rolls of pennies that others toss aside without a second thought. It's a high-stakes hunt for a coin that seems ordinary until you know the secret. The thrill isn't just in the money, it's in the story, the history, the unearthing of something thought impossible. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One glance, one magnifying glass, one moment of curiosity could transform your ordinary collection into an extraordinary legacy. The 2000D Lincoln penny is more than metal. It's a reminder that sometimes, fortune hides in the smallest of places. Imagine holding a simple Lincoln penny in your hand and realizing it could be worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. That's exactly what happened with the 1982 D Mint Mark penny, a coin so rare and mysterious that collectors across the country are scrambling to find it before it disappears again. Back in 1982, the U.S. Mint was making subtle but critical changes to the penny. That year marked the beginning of copper shortages, and suddenly pennies weren't just pennies anymore. Some were struck in pure copper, others in zinc with just a thin copper coating. But here's the twist. A small number of these coins slipped through the cracks, a minting anomaly so rare that only a handful are known to exist today. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on one, and every sale makes headlines, often in the seven-figure range. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One collector, cleaning out a jar of change he had ignored for decades, noticed something strange. The penny looked ordinary at first, just another coin among hundreds. But the D Mint mark was slightly off, almost imperceptibly raised compared to the rest of the letters. That tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. By the time experts confirmed it, the penny had already been sold at auction for over $1 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. How could a penny from 1982 suddenly become one of the most valuable coins in American history? The answer lies in its composition. Some of these 1982 D pennies were mistakenly struck on a blank planchet intended for a different alloy, giving them a rare finish and an extremely limited production run. That makes them almost impossible to find in circulation, and yet, they keep appearing in the most unexpected places: drawers, old jars, and even wallets. This is where the story gets even stranger. Several of these pennies were spotted at estate sales, often mistaken for ordinary change. One man handed over a coin to a cashier thinking it was worthless, only to later learn it had just been sold for $1.7 million at auction. Imagine the shock. What most of us toss away without a second thought could actually be a fortune. But there's more. Experts have discovered that not all 1982 D pennies are created equal. Some carry subtle doubling marks near the date, while others show variations in the mint mark itself. Missing this tiny detail can cost collectors thousands, even millions, because the true value lies in the precise characteristics of the minting mistake. That's why seasoned coin dealers recommend extreme caution. If you think you've found one, never try to clean it or handle it carelessly. Even fingerprints can reduce its value dramatically. This penny's journey from obscurity to headline-making auctions is nothing short of cinematic. From jars of forgotten coins to multi-million-dollar sales, it has captured the imagination of the coin world. And every discovery inspires a wave of hope. Maybe the next millionaire will find their fortune in their own spare change. But what collectors don't realize is how deceptive appearances can be. A regular 1982 penny looks almost identical to this $1 million coin. Only by carefully checking the mint mark, alloy type, and small minting errors can you distinguish a common coin from a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Now, pay attention, because this is where most people go wrong. Many think that if the penny is shiny or in perfect condition, it must be valuable. That's not true. The true value comes from rarity and the exact minting anomaly. Even coins in average circulated condition have sold for incredible sums if they carry the correct characteristics. Every scratch, every mark, and even the tiniest off-center strike can affect the price, sometimes dramatically. Collectors continue to search, often traveling hundreds of miles to inspect old coin collections, estate sales, or even rolls of pennies from banks. And each new find sends shockwaves through the market. One discovery recently led to a bidding war that drove the price past $1.5 million in less than 10 minutes. It's a reminder, in the world of rare coins, timing, knowledge, and luck are everything. If you want to identify this coin, here's exactly what to look for. First, examine the date, 1982, and the mint mark, a small D for Denver. The key is the striking. Is the mint mark slightly raised, or does it appear doubled? Next, check the composition. Some experts recommend weighing the coin because the copper and zinc alloys differ slightly in weight. Finally, look for subtle anomalies on the rim and surface, especially near the lettering. These tiny details are what separate a $1 million coin from a common penny. Every year, a handful of these coins emerge from obscurity, often discovered in the most mundane places. A dusty jar, a forgotten drawer, a loose pocket change. The possibilities are endless. And every time it happens, the story goes viral. Dealers and collectors alike scramble, knowing that the next 1982 D penny could be the one that changes someone's life forever. This is not just a coin. It's a piece of history, a symbol of fortune hiding in plain sight. Its rarity has created legends, its discoveries inspire hope, and its value has shocked even the most experienced collectors. And the truth is, it doesn't take luck alone, it takes a careful eye and a bit of knowledge to spot the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. Remember, this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One coin, overlooked for decades, can suddenly become the key to a life-changing fortune. For collectors, it's the ultimate reminder that sometimes, the smallest treasures carry the greatest rewards. Imagine that. A single penny, overlooked for decades, suddenly transforming someone's life forever. That's exactly what happened with the 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that most Americans pass by every day without a second thought. But one tiny detail turned this ordinary penny into a $1 million miracle. For decades, these pennies circulated quietly, tucked into wallets, dropped into couch cushions, lost under car seats. Nobody imagined that the humble Lincoln cent could harbor a secret that would make collectors and dealers go wild. What makes this coin so rare isn't obvious at first glance. It's the missing mint mark, a tiny absence in a corner of the coin that signals a printing anomaly with a history collectors dream about. The story begins in the late 1970s, when the U.S. Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies. Most carried a small D or S to indicate which facility struck them. But in rare cases, errors happened. On a small batch of 1980 pennies, the mint mark was entirely missing. Experts call this a no mint mark error, and in the right condition, these coins are worth a fortune. One collector, cleaning out his old coin jar, had no idea that he was about to stumble upon a life-changing discovery. He pulled out a coin that looked ordinary, the copper worn smooth from years of use. But the instant he examined it under a magnifying glass, he froze. There was no mint mark. His heart raced as he realized what he held: a 1980 no mint mark penny, one of the rarest Lincoln cents in existence. Dealers were shocked when he reached out. Calls and emails poured in from around the country. This tiny penny, worth mere cents to anyone else, was suddenly valued at nearly $1 million. It's all about scarcity and condition. Millions of 1980 pennies were struck, but only a handful left the mint without a mark. And among those, only a few survive in excellent condition, untouched by the wear of circulation. The rest are ordinary, lost to time, or destroyed. This makes each verified no mint mark penny a treasure beyond imagination. Collectors couldn't believe it. Auction houses scrambled to authenticate examples. Experts studied the coin under microscopes, checking the exact positioning of Lincoln's profile, the strike quality, and the absence of that tiny D that normally identifies Denver minted pennies. One tiny detail made the difference between a worthless penny and $1 million artifact, and most people miss it completely. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Once authenticated, this coin was listed at auction. The bidding was fierce, with phone lines buzzing nonstop and emails flying back and forth. Private collectors who had waited decades for a rare find entered the fight. The price soared. From a coin worth a few cents in a pocket, the value exploded to hundreds of thousands of dollars, and eventually, one lucky owner walked away with over $1 million in their hands. This wasn't just a financial miracle. It was a reminder of how treasure can hide in the most ordinary places. One man's pocket change became a story for the ages. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these pennies, and collectors are combing through rolls, jars, and drawers, hoping to uncover another miracle. Every coin could hold the same secret, but only if you know what to look for. Here's how to identify the 1980 no mint mark penny. First, check the area above Lincoln's shoulder carefully. There should be no D for Denver. Many pennies appear to have missing marks due to wear, dirt, or cleaning, but an authentic no mint mark penny has a perfectly smooth, clear absence where the mark should be. Next, examine the strike. Genuine examples are sharp, with well-defined details in Lincoln's profile and the date. And finally, always verify through a professional grading service. Counterfeits exist, and collectors have lost thousands chasing errors that aren't real. This penny is more than a coin. It's a story of chance, history, and hidden fortune. It proves that ordinary objects can become extraordinary if you know what to seek. Imagine sifting through your change tomorrow and discovering a coin that could change your life forever. Imagine holding a piece of history worth $1 million. The thrill, the shock, the disbelief, it's all part of what makes the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny one of the most sought-after coins in the world. So if you have a handful of pennies lying around, take a closer look. Examine them, study them, and remember, even the smallest coin can hold the greatest treasure. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Don't underestimate what you have. History and fortune sometimes hide in the most ordinary places. It's a 1993 D mint mark Lincoln penny, seemingly ordinary, almost invisible in your pocket change. Yet for those who know the secret, this tiny coin has become the holy grail of collectors. Imagine this. A coin so rare that dealers are scrambling across the country just to get their hands on one. A coin that turns a casual collector into an instant millionaire overnight. The story begins at the US Mint, where thousands of coins are struck every day. But on a single, ordinary day in 1993, something extraordinary happened. A minting error occurred that no one noticed at first. A die misalignment, a doubling of the design, a tiny flaw that would later skyrocket its value. Most people would never give it a second glance. But this mistake would become one of the most coveted Lincoln pennies in history. Collectors were shocked when the first examples surfaced. What seemed like a minor anomaly was actually a rare combination of factors that made this penny worth far more than its 1-cent face value. One lucky collector stumbled upon a roll of pennies at a local grocery store and immediately noticed something strange. The D mint mark was slightly off. The Lincoln Memorial appeared subtly doubled. What others dismissed as wear and tear was actually the key to a fortune. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. This coin, quietly circulating in pockets across America, started appearing in auctions, fetching eye-popping prices. From $10,000 to $100,000, collectors and dealers began to realize this was no ordinary penny. Its value was climbing faster than almost any modern coin in U.S. history. And then it happened. One sold for a staggering $1.8 million. A single penny. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Imagine holding a coin that could buy a house, a car, or fund a dream vacation, all for just a penny. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin because the supply is incredibly limited. The 1993 D penny with this specific minting error is rarer than most gold coins, rarer than nearly any coin struck in the 20th century. And while millions of 1993 pennies exist, only a handful show the exact anomaly that makes this coin so valuable. Collectors need to know what to look for. The first sign is the mint mark. On a genuine 1993 D million-dollar penny, the D is slightly raised and appears doubled if you look closely under magnification. Next, examine the date. Tiny doubling or a shift in the numbers is the hallmark of the minting error. Compare it against a standard 1993 penny. The differences are subtle, but they are unmistakable once you know what to look for. One common mistake people make is dismissing coins that appear worn or discolored. Don't. Many of the 1993 D errors were discovered in circulation, and their condition doesn't always tell the whole story. Even a coin that looks ordinary could be hiding a fortune. Another pitfall is confusing this penny with similar-looking errors from other years. Only the exact combination of the 1993 date and the D mint mark anomaly has this kind of value. But the drama doesn't end there. Some of the most incredible discoveries happened by accident. One collector found a roll of 1993 pennies in a coffee shop tip jar. Another discovered a single coin tucked behind a drawer at a thrift store. Each time, the moment of recognition was instantaneous. The thrill, the disbelief, the sudden realization that you are holding a coin worth over $1 million. There is nothing like it. And the auctions, oh, the auctions. The tension in the room is palpable. Collectors whisper, dealers sweat, and bids climb faster than anyone could predict. One by one, the coins are claimed, and the story spreads like wildfire. Social media lights up, forums buzz with speculation, and suddenly, everyone is checking their change. Could the next $1 million penny be hiding in your own pocket? This coin also teaches us a lesson about patience and attention to detail. Most people will never recognize the value of what they hold because they don't know the signs. The doubling is subtle. The mint mark is small. The date can seem ordinary. But for those who study, inspect, and understand the nuances, the rewards are life-changing. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. That's right. In a box of pennies, in a forgotten jar, or even in the change you use every day, the 1993 D Lincoln penny could be quietly waiting to change someone's life forever. So check your coins carefully. Look for that tiny detail that others miss. Remember, the difference between a 1-cent coin and $1 million treasure is microscopic, but the payoff is astronomical. Don't let this opportunity pass. The story of the 1993 D penny is not just about money, it's about discovery, excitement, and the thrill of holding a piece of history that the world thought was ordinary. Millions of dollars have been made by collectors who dared to look closer, who understood the signs, and who acted fast. And now it's your turn. Take a deep breath, grab a magnifying glass, and inspect those coins. The one that seems insignificant might just be your ticket to $1 million miracle. This is the magic of coin collecting. The thrill of uncovering what others overlook. The power of a tiny penny that could rewrite your story. Because one small coin, struck decades ago, can become more than money. It can become a legend. You might be holding the next life-changing discovery in your pocket right now, and the story of the 1991 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny is unlike anything you've ever heard. Most people see a 1991 Lincoln penny and think it's just another ordinary coin. It's copper, it's common, it jingles in your pocket like hundreds of others. But hidden deep in the minting process, an extraordinary mistake occurred, one so rare that it has sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world. Collectors were stunned when they realized this small, unassuming penny could fetch over $1 million. The 1991 D penny with this specific mint mark isn't just a penny. It's a minting anomaly. A tiny misstrike, a forgotten press error, an oversight buried in the United States Mint archives. These errors are incredibly rare. Fewer than a handful are known to exist. And that tiny detail is exactly what separates a 1-cent coin from $1 million miracle. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One collector stumbled upon this treasure purely by chance. It was tucked away in a jar of loose change, covered in years of dust and coins from groceries, parking meters, and vending machines. When he took it to a local dealer, no one believed him at first. "It's just a 1991 D penny," they said. But under the microscope, the truth emerged: a perfectly misaligned mint mark, a subtle doubling, a detail almost invisible to the untrained eye. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these pennies, and the auction records are astonishing. In a recent sale, one coin fetched over $1.1 million. $1 million. And here's the kicker: most people pass these pennies by without even a second thought, unaware that a fortune could be hiding in their wallet. Imagine holding a coin that could instantly change your life. That's exactly what happened to the lucky few who discovered these errors. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle overnight. And the story doesn't end there. Every detail of the coin, from its mint mark placement to the faint doubling near the date, tells a story of rarity and value that collectors crave. This penny's journey is almost cinematic. After the initial discovery, it traveled through private collectors, rare coin dealers, and high-profile auctions. Each step added to its mystique and its value. When it finally sold, the room went silent, the hammer fell, and the coin officially joined the elite club of $1 million pennies. There are subtle variations even within this coin series. Not every 1991 D penny will make you rich. In fact, most will never be worth more than their face value. That's why experts emphasize what to look for. The mint mark must be perfectly aligned, the date crisp, and any doubling or anomalies clearly visible. Even slight wear can drastically reduce its value. Collectors describe it as holding a piece of history that is alive, rare, and incredibly powerful. The feeling of realizing that something you've carried in your pocket could be worth more than most people make in a lifetime is indescribable. This coin embodies that dream, the dream that a simple, ordinary penny could suddenly become a treasure worth millions. And the truth is, it could be closer than you think. Look carefully at your 1991 D pennies. Examine the mint mark. Check for any signs of doubling or misstrikes. Compare them with authenticated examples online. Many people overlook the smallest details, the slightest doubling of the D mint mark, the tiniest misalignment. But those are exactly the features that make this coin worth over $1 million. It's more than just a coin. It's a symbol of chance, of patience, of discovery. A reminder that treasure doesn't always come from digging deep into the earth. Sometimes, it's hiding in your pocket change, in your drawer, in the coins you've forgotten about for decades. And here's the final truth: this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, unnoticed, waiting for the moment when someone recognizes its incredible value. A 1991 D Lincoln penny with the right characteristics isn't just currency. It's a ticket to $1 million story, a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, and a reminder that luck and knowledge can create miracles from the most ordinary objects. So check your jars of coins, inspect every 1991 D penny, and don't overlook the tiny details. This isn't just history, it's your chance. Because one coin, one lucky misstrike, could transform your life forever. And that penny? It's not just a coin. It's $1 million opportunity, waiting for someone who knows what to look for. Imagine a tiny copper disc, sitting unnoticed in a pocket, a drawer, or even a forgotten jar of coins, and one simple detail makes it priceless. In 1994, something unusual happened at the U.S. Mint. A small batch of Lincoln pennies was produced without the usual mint mark, a tiny omission that would go unnoticed for decades. At first glance, these coins look ordinary. They circulate just like any other penny. But hidden in plain sight was a flaw so rare that collectors today are willing to pay unimaginable sums, even $1 million, for just one perfect example. Collectors who stumbled upon this penny describe it as a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. One man found a roll of change in a drawer, thinking it was just pocket change. As he sorted through the coins, he noticed one penny looked off. No mint mark. Slightly different. Most people would toss it aside, never imagining its true value. Dealers are now scrambling. They've been calling each other late at night, alerting fellow collectors about this rare 1994 no mint mark penny. The news spreads like wildfire. Auctions have seen offers soar into six figures, and the whispers in the collector community are growing louder. Every time one of these pennies appears, it makes headlines. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. At a high-profile auction, one of these pennies sold for over $1 million. That's right, a coin smaller than a button, barely noticeable in a wallet, now commanding the kind of money most people only dream about. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were furious they hadn't secured it first. And one ordinary man walked away a millionaire, all because he recognized the value of a tiny detail. The reason it's worth so much is deceptively simple. Without the mint mark, this coin represents an anomaly, an error the US Mint never intended. Errors like this are incredibly rare. In fact, only a handful of these pennies are known to exist in perfect condition. Every collector dreams of finding one, and when they do, the competition is fierce. Now, imagine the possibilities. What if the penny sitting in your drawer right now is one of these rare 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies? It could have been in your pocket change for years, unnoticed, waiting for the right moment to reveal its true worth. This exact penny could be worth $1 million, simply because someone knew what to look for. But spotting it isn't as easy as it sounds. You have to know exactly where to look. First, check the obverse, the front of the coin. Look carefully beneath the date. On a typical 1994 penny, you'll see a small D or S indicating the Denver or San Francisco Mint. If that mark is missing, your heart should skip a beat. That tiny absence is what separates a common penny from a potentially million-dollar treasure. Next, examine the coin for wear and tear. The rarer these coins are in pristine condition, the higher their value. Even minor scratches or dents can significantly reduce the price. Collectors call this grading, and it's a critical step before selling or auctioning. The closer to mint condition, the closer to $1 million it could fetch. And here's a detail most people miss: the strike. Coins minted without a mint mark sometimes show subtle differences in the metal's texture or the way the design strikes the surface. It's subtle, nearly imperceptible, but experts can spot it instantly. That's why collectors who study these coins for hours become millionaires. They know how to identify the nuances others overlook. Imagine the suspense of finding this coin in circulation. You pull out a handful of pennies at the grocery store, and one glints differently under the light. You don't notice a mint mark. Your pulse races. The auction world is hungry for these pennies. Dealers pay top dollar, sometimes offering cash on the spot if someone brings in a verified 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. The competition is ruthless. One coin can trigger bidding wars that escalate beyond imagination. A single error coin can change the financial fate of a collector overnight. And yet, despite all the attention, most people never see one. Millions of 1994 pennies were minted, but only a fraction escaped with this rare anomaly. That's what makes it so electrifying. It's not just a coin. It's a story, a mystery, a hidden fortune waiting for the person who dares to notice the details others ignore. Collectors describe the experience of holding this penny as surreal. They speak of the weight of history in their hands, the thrill of knowing this small object could be worth more than many people earn in a lifetime. It's a mix of excitement, fear, and disbelief, because suddenly, a simple penny becomes a ticket to $1 million miracle. Check the mint mark area carefully, examine the coin's overall condition, and study the strike patterns. Consult a professional if you suspect you've found one. Even one misstep in identification could mean missing out on a fortune. And remember, this isn't just theory. This coin has already created millionaires. It has changed lives. And it could change yours. Imagine the story you'd tell. I found a coin in my pocket change, and it turned out to be worth over $1 million. That's not a dream. It's a reality for those who pay attention, those who know what to look for, those who don't dismiss a coin as just a penny. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Every moment you wait, someone else could be discovering their fortune. But you now know the secret. You now know the tiny detail that can separate ordinary change from unimaginable wealth. Look closely, and maybe, just maybe, fortune will find you in the most unexpected place. Imagine a penny, the coin you toss in a parking meter or the wishing well at a fair, holding the power to change a life forever. And not just any penny, This is the 1998 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that collectors are hunting like modern-day treasure hunters. It all starts with a tiny, almost invisible error during the minting process. While most pennies roll off the presses looking identical, this one has a secret flaw, a detail so small that most people completely overlook it. Dealers who have seen it in person say it practically glows under the right light, a whisper from the past screaming, "Value!" One collector stumbled across it in a handful of coins he pulled from a couch cushion, and what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Experts call it a die crack error, a minuscule split in the die used to stamp the penny. But it's not just any crack. The positioning, the way it interacts with the D Mint mark, and the unusual doubling on Lincoln's face all combine to create a coin that is extraordinarily rare. Collectors were shocked when the first one sold at auction for over $250,000. And then, the next one broke all records, nearly crossing the $1 million mark. What makes this penny even more mysterious is how easily it could have been missed. This coin looks ordinary to the untrained eye. It feels ordinary. It was, after all, made in 1998, a year when pennies were produced by the millions. But those who know the secret can spot it in seconds. A tiny ridge, a faint doubling, a subtle shift that most people dismiss as wear or dirt. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle simply because he had the eyes of a true collector. And here's the part that will make you hold your breath. This coin doesn't just exist in one hidden vault somewhere. No, it's still out there, slipping through pockets, drawers, and cash registers. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on any 1998 D pennies that might carry this flaw, but most people will never notice it. It's like a secret handshake between the coin and the collector who knows what to look for. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A handful of these pennies started appearing in local coin shops, often tucked into rolls of otherwise worthless change. Each discovery sent shockwaves through auction houses. Prices soared. Every time a new example was authenticated, the bidding skyrocketed, sometimes reaching over $1 million before the hammer finally fell. And yet, most people still don't know this coin exists. The untrained eye might pass it by, completely unaware that they're holding a fortune in their hand. Collectors whisper about the 1998 D Miracle Penny in hushed tones, sharing photos in online forums, dissecting every angle of its unique features. They know that spotting the die crack, the doubled lettering, and the subtle misalignment of Lincoln's portrait is the key. One tiny ridge can mean the difference between a penny worth a few cents and a coin worth a life-changing sum. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Auction stories add even more drama. One coin, pulled from a dusty jar at a flea market, sold for a staggering amount after authentication. The owner was stunned. He never imagined that a penny he had forgotten about for decades could now be valued in the hundreds of thousands, even millions. It's a story that fuels the dreams of collectors everywhere. The idea that something seemingly insignificant could suddenly become priceless. And it's not just about money. There's a thrill in the chase, a heartbeat in the discovery. Imagine sifting through pocket change and suddenly spotting that ridge, that tiny doubling on Lincoln's cheek, that perfect D Mint mark anomaly. Dealers and collectors alike describe the moment as electric, a rush that hits as soon as your eyes catch the difference between a regular penny and this rare marvel. First, look closely at the D Mint mark. It should appear slightly raised, almost as if it's popping from the coin's surface. Check Lincoln's face for subtle doubling, particularly on the cheek and jawline. Tilt the coin under light and watch for tiny ridges along the rim. These aren't scratches. They are minting errors that define this coin's rarity. Common mistakes include assuming every worn penny is worthless. This coin hides in plain sight. Many collectors have almost thrown theirs away before realizing what they had. This coin could literally be sitting in your drawer right now. You might have passed it off as pocket change, unnoticed for decades. But hidden in that unassuming penny is the potential for $1 million miracle. Dealers are on the hunt, auctions are heating up, and one lucky discovery could change a life forever. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine holding a piece of copper in your hand that could instantly turn into life-changing wealth. That's exactly what happened with the 1970 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. What seems like a simple, everyday coin hiding in circulation carries a secret that has stunned collectors and dealers alike. It all starts with a subtle, almost invisible detail: the missing mint mark. In 1970, the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of pennies, but a few slipped through the cracks without their identifying D or S. At first glance, it's just another penny, but for those who know what to look for, it's a rare treasure that could fetch up to $1.40 million. Collectors were shocked when these pennies began surfacing. One man discovered a handful in his change, thinking nothing of it, until an online auction caught his eye. The coin he casually held had sold for a jaw-dropping six-figure sum. He suddenly realized that his pocket change had become a $1 million miracle. But what makes this penny so valuable isn't just its rarity, it's the story behind it. During the minting process, mistakes happen, and in 1970, a few pennies escaped the press without a mint mark. These errors were so tiny, so easily overlooked, that most people never even knew they existed. Yet today, collectors and dealers are racing to track them down, knowing the stakes could reach millions of dollars. Imagine walking into your kitchen, sifting through an old jar of pennies, and discovering one that could change your life forever. The thrill, the disbelief. This is the exact feeling experienced by countless collectors who stumbled upon the 1970 no-mint Mark penny. One man recounts holding it between his fingers, feeling the weight of history and the unimaginable possibility that he was about to own something extraordinary. The coin's value comes from more than just its scarcity. It's the perfect storm of history, rarity, and market demand. The Lincoln penny is already iconic, but a missing mint mark transforms it from common currency into a treasure worth millions. Dealers have been known to pay tens of thousands on the spot for verified examples, knowing that auctions can drive prices sky high in just days. And yet, despite the hype, many people overlook it. You could have this penny in your wallet, buried in a jar of coins, completely unaware that it carries a hidden fortune. That tiny detail, the absence of a mint mark, is why it's worth millions. Most people miss it, but for those who know, it's the ultimate collector's prize. But the story doesn't end there. In one famous auction, a 1970 no-mint Mark penny sold for an eye-popping amount that left even seasoned dealers speechless. Bidding wars erupted online, with collectors pushing each other to unprecedented sums. It's not just a coin, it's a key to a millionaire's dream, a tangible piece of history that could make someone's wildest financial fantasies come true. Identifying this coin requires careful attention. Look closely at the area just below the date on the obverse side. No D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. That empty space is a signal to collectors worldwide: this is the rare variant. But beware, many pennies have worn away over time, and counterfeit or altered coins exist. Precision is everything. Experts advise checking the coin's condition, color, and luster. Coins in mint state or near perfect condition fetch the highest sums. Even small scratches or discoloration can impact value dramatically. Dealers use magnification tools to verify authenticity, because the difference between a worthless penny and a $1 million coin can be microscopic. Collectors have shared stories of families who discovered these pennies in old collections, buried in drawers for decades. One woman found a single penny hidden in a stack of 1970 pennies and, after verification, realized it could be worth over $1 million. Her disbelief turned to joy as the reality sank in, a lifetime of financial security hidden in a coin she had almost tossed aside. Start by checking every 1970 penny you come across. Look for the missing mint mark beneath the date. Handle it carefully, avoid cleaning it, and take it to a certified coin grader if you suspect it could be valuable. Mistakes in handling could reduce its value drastically. And remember, this is a rare chance. Not all 1970 pennies without mint marks are valuable. Only those verified and authenticated by experts reach the staggering prices collectors are paying today. But the opportunity is real, and millions of dollars are waiting for those who pay attention to the tiniest details. Dealers are on high alert. Every jar of pennies, every roll from a bank, could contain a hidden gem. Auctions have shown that the market is willing to reward patience, knowledge, and a keen eye with life-changing sums. The thrill of discovery, the suspense of verification, and the joy of holding a piece of history, it's a story that continues to captivate the coin world. It's a symbol of possibility. One man's casual pocket change became $1 million miracle. The thrill of holding it, knowing its history, understanding its rarity, it's the dream every collector chases. So next time you sift through pennies, look closely at 1970 pennies. The missing mint mark is subtle, but it's the key. One small detail is all it takes to turn a simple coin into an extraordinary fortune. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Back in 1984, the United States Mint struck millions of Lincoln pennies. Most went unnoticed, dropped into cash registers, tossed into jars, or slipped between couch cushions. But hidden among them was a penny so rare, so unique, that collectors are still scrambling to find it today. This is the story of the 1984 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, worth up to $1.50 million. At first glance, it looks like any other penny from the 80s. Copper, worn from decades of handling, the familiar image of Lincoln staring out. But look closer. See the details of the D Mint mark? There's a subtle error here that most people overlook, a tiny, almost invisible difference that can turn a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. The story begins with a small mistake at the Denver Mint. During production, a rare die anomaly caused the D Mint mark to appear slightly off-center, almost ghost-like in its placement. It wasn't intentional. The Mint never noticed. And millions of pennies rolled off the presses, unaware that hidden among them were the ones that could make someone unimaginably wealthy. Collectors were shocked when the first of these coins hit the market. One man, digging through his change, pulled out a penny that looked normal. But a sharp-eyed dealer noticed the subtle mint mark variation. That penny sold quietly at auction, for over $1 million. Just a single coin, found in a pocket, turned into $1 million miracle overnight. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. News spread like wildfire. Dealers began combing through coin rolls. Collectors turned their homes upside down, shaking out drawers, wallets, and old coin boxes. Suddenly, the 1984 D Lincoln penny wasn't just a collectible. It was a ticket to unimaginable wealth. The rarity of this coin isn't just about the mint mark. It's about the story embedded in every detail. The tiny imperfection in the die, the year of production, the exact strike of the coin, all factors that combined to make it incredibly rare. Every time a coin surfaced, the auction room erupted. Bids soared. $1 million offers became the norm. Not every 1984 D penny is valuable. Far from it. Dealers warn that if you don't know what to look for, you could be holding a worthless coin and never realize its potential. The key is in the mint mark itself. Look for a slightly off-kilter. D. Sharper lines than usual, and a small doubling effect in certain coins. Even a tiny scratch or wear can reduce its value by hundreds of thousands of dollars. One collector shared how he nearly threw his coin in the trash. He had found it decades ago, thought it was just another penny. It sat in a drawer, forgotten, until a coin expert examined it. The moment they identified it as a rare 1984 D Mint mark, the collector's life changed forever. That coin became his first $1 million discovery. Dealers are now desperate to find more. Rumors swirl of private collections, forgotten rolls, and coins that have never seen the light of day. Every auction teases the possibility that the next penny could be the one worth millions. Every month, someone somewhere discovers another hidden gem, and it could be yours. The emotional pull of this coin is undeniable. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that could change your life. The thrill, the disbelief, the sheer joy of knowing you've stumbled upon a piece of history that also carries unimaginable financial power. This isn't just collecting, it's a treasure hunt, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity hiding in plain sight. Examine the mint mark under magnification. Look for the subtle irregularities, that ghost-like placement of the D mark, tiny die doubling, and crisp detail. Avoid coins with heavy wear or cleaning, as these dramatically reduce value. When in doubt, consult a reputable grading service. The difference between a common penny and $1 million penny can be the width of a letter, And here's the kicker: despite all the auctions, all the discoveries, this coin could be hiding in your pocket change right now. A single, unassuming penny in your drawer could be worth over $1 million. The possibility is real. It's the ultimate blend of suspense, luck, and history all in the palm of your hand. So next time you reach for a coin, remember the 1984 Lincoln penny. Look closely, check the mint mark, and imagine the life-changing fortune it could bring. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. One coin's subtle imperfection created history. And that exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.